Welcome back to the Bourbon and BS podcast, everyone. This is episode 356, and we are live in the garage. It feels much warmer than previous episodes recently, which is nice.
You sweat?
I was, yeah, absolutely. So 3/4 sleeves by Jack.com and rookie move.
Whoa.
Rookie move.
I can't believe you did that.
Who was that? Sean, turn on your phone.
No.
Got Sean Wilkinson, Nate Hale. I'm Steve Crane. But thank you guys for joining us. We're going to get through. Got something brand new, which we're excited about. And we also have a donation bottle. Talk about how you can do that as well. We appreciate all that support. So I mentioned our shirts. Mine's the only one that's kind of legible on screen, I feel like. Sean has the original podcast shirt, what's left of it. That was the first run we did. Fades a little bit, so we changed who we make the shirts with.
The fabric holds up, but just not the print.
Super soft and super flattering. So you look great, Sean.
Thanks, man.
Absolutely. And that's the Pour One More, Light Up Another. We'll figure this out together. Podcast shirt on buyjack.com/bourbon and BS. I have one of the 3/4 sleeves on for the BS Cigar Company. It's a front and back logo shirt on that one. It's got the company logo and then the band art on the back. So check that out. There's also some hoodies. Don't really need those, hopefully, anytime soon again here in the Midwest, but who knows? Might need it tomorrow.
It's going to drop on Sunday.
No, exactly. There you go.
About it.
But buyjack.com/bourbon and BS. Thank you guys very much. And also you guys out there, Tinderbox at Easton, Columbus, Ohio. You can find the brand. I don't know if they're going to be getting in this cigar because it is very limited, but we'll be talking about this cigar. But Cohibas are available as well as other parts of the portfolio for Forged and General. There's going to be over a dozen different brands from them, but Cohiba is one of them. They're one of their premier ones. Had Sean Williams on the show before. So check out this. This is very limited. We'll get some more information on that. But Tinderbox at Easton, Columbus, Ohio. Also, Altadis USA, you see behind us, they are re-upping their sponsorship, so that's a good sign that they like us still. But Monte Cristo, Romeo Julieta, H. Upman, Aging Room, among others. We have a H. Upman Nicaragua by AJ Fernandez for the second cigar tonight. But thank you very much, Altadis, David, Maria, Josh, everyone there. Also, BS Cigar Company, Gold and Silver are available at Tinderbox at Easton. And that's going to be, gold is made by Plasencia, and the silver is made by Espinosa Cigars. And all Nicaraguan in both of those. So check those out as well. And obviously, thank you guys at patreon.com/bourbon and BS podcast. That's the continuing contributions. We do still have a handful of supporters. Helps us stream this live without a lot of money out of our pocket. And also, you can do Venmo at Bourbon and BS if you want to do a gift bottle that you can't send us or hand to us, but you want us to buy something to review with you guys. Definitely send us a little bit of cash to help support that part too. We appreciate all the support. And then most importantly, obviously, guys, please share. This is most important. Share, like, comment, review, and subscribe on all formats. You enjoy listening to the show, and tell your friends. Gentlemen, how are you?
Glad to be here. It's been
take that as a win.
Work has been interesting the last couple of weeks.
Perfect. Sean, how about you?
Glad to be here as well.
Jesus. I mean,
as always.
Yes.
Even when you're not here. Wait.
That's great.
I need me to say that out loud.
That's what the smears on the windows are.
I thought my coffee mug had moved.
Doing well. Like Nate said, it's been pretty hectic with work and stuff, but it's been productive, and it's always a relief to be able to come out here every couple of weeks to kind of disconnect from the craziness of life and the world, to be able to just have our time to talk and share and shoot the shit, talk about life. So I always enjoy this.
It's more fun than drinking and smoking it by yourself.
Yeah. Yep.
Usually.
Yep.
Just the three of us and everyone out there in the internet world. It's fantastic.
That's fine.
It is. It's more than fine.
It's a party.
Aaron Garner, Bobby Hirschman, so you guys are on so far. We appreciate you guys watching, supporting the show. We've got, what do you guys want to do first? The cigar or the whiskey?
Let's do cigar.
Cigar. All right. So this is something, thank you to Forged. It was General, now Forged, but it's all the same parent company. But Cohiba is now under the umbrella of Forged. All right. This is something that is limited. This is not the first time they've done this, this branding of it, but it changes a little bit every year. But this is the, put it up on screen here for you. Wrong one. Great. Does this one work? There we go. Literally backwards on the graphics. If you guys
That's hilarious. That's
cool.
not going to be.
We need a new producer there.
A B hope.
Cohiba Serie M. This is the Reserva Plata, and this is the. Well, let's just read off the press release here for you guys.
The official company letterhead.
That's right. Cohiba Cigars has again partnered with the storied El Tito de Bronze factory in Miami to produce a new American-made cigar. Serie M Reserva Plata marks the 6th time Cohiba and El Tito de Bronze have collaborated on this Serie M cigar, and like previous releases, all Serie M Reserva Platas are handmade by certified level 9 rollers. So this is different. We did the blue one on the show before last year, the Azul.
Yeah.
Totally different blend. So limited edition Serie M Reserva Plata boasts an entirely new 5-leaf blend. It begins with a rich Mexican San Andreas wrapper. Underneath rests a bold and balanced Nicaraguan Esteli binder, along with Nicaraguan Jalapa Viso and Ligero, Esteli and Dominican Piloto Cubano fillers. Serie M, I'm not going to say the tasting notes. We're going to figure that out. Sean Williams, Cohiba brand ambassador, who we've also had on the show. This is our 6th Serie M release, and it continues to be a pleasure working with El Tito de Bronze to create a special expression each year for this line. Serie M Reserva Plata is just that special. It marks only the 2nd time we've ever used a San Andreas wrapper on any Cohiba cigar, which is the first one. Anyway. Thank you very much, sir. It's always helpful that
San Andreas. I'm going to say the black
Riviera.
Oh, wow. All right.
Black is going to be Connecticut broadleaf. Married with the rest of this terrific blend, Serie M Reserva Plata really delivers a deep, rich, well-balanced profile. It comes in a single size 6x52 Toro. It was produced by El Tito de Bronze in Miami, Florida. Only 3,000 boxes have been made available for sale.
How many again?
3,000.
Wow.
Boxes of 10.
So 30,000 sticks.
30,000 cigars plus these. Don't forget these.
30,005.
So do you have is another one of those fancy boxes like Spectre?
Yeah, you can see it on the
Oh, yeah.
not like Spectre. No, this is going to be something they've done before. So
Yeah.
it's very beautiful. They did send us a whole box last time, which was fantastic. So we could see it. It's beautiful blue. This
Yeah,
one has,
really
it's
cool.
grayish, if you will.
Yeah.
With it looks like gold leaf or gold, very shiny in the background. It's on not only the bands, but also on the box, as you guys can see on screen. And then on the right there, if you look at the box, if you can see that, it's got 10 laid out there. And on the right-hand side of the bottom of the box there, that's the description of what the cigar is. So
Okay.
I can't read that, but when you open a box of this, it has a description on the right-hand side with the blend and, El Tito de Bronze and all the not all the stuff I just said. But anyways, this is going to begin. It began shipping last month, March of 2026. So you might be able to see these in the wild. I don't know if you're going to find any online. The MSRP of this cigar is
35.
I was gonna guess north of 30 for sure. El Tito de Bronze, $40.
If I would guess $1, I'd win. It's $29.99.
Okay.
All right, there it is.
You had the sheet.
I know. No, it was open book test for me. I don't know what to take off here. Remove that one. Hey, all right. It flipped back, and we're back. Very short run for Cohiba. Indeed, Aaron Garner, you're right. These are very small runs. Limited tobacco. El Tito de Bronze is a very small factory in actually Miami. That's why they say American made. It's been around for a long time. As they said, level 9 rollers on this one. So it's a very exclusive, I don't know if that's the right word, exclusive factory to work with.
Yeah.
What's what makes a level 9 or what do you say? 1,
9's
2?
the top of
Okay.
it. So that's going to be a master roller, basically.
Okay. Wow.
That's your best of the best. Like when
Well, I
it
can
comes.
tell.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Any
Legit.
Is yours smoking all right?
yeah, so the draw was fine on mine. Like when I
I
initially
thought you said it was tight when on the cold draw.
on the cold draw,
Right.
it was
It's deceiving,
tight.
right? When it's
Yes.
rolled by a level 9 roller successfully and it's been maintained.
Yeah.
When I first actually put flame to it, I was like, holy cow, this is actually drawing very easily. Like there's a nice little channel right down the middle where it's pulling through. So not a hole,
Not a
not a
tunnel.
hole, like
Okay.
not a tunnel,
Okay.
but just that air channel to pull through. Which, ironically, I had a customer come into the shop on Sunday with a picture, and the picture was of the ash end of a cigar.
Yeah.
And you know how sometimes you can actually see those little air channels that
Sure.
you're pulling through. He thought that was beetles.
Oh, okay.
And so I was like, no, they go out. Like they'll
Yeah.
chew through
Yeah.
the wrapper and all that kind of stuff. That's not beetles. That's
No.
the air channels from them rolling the different leaves, bunching those together.
Right.
And I had to explain that. And he looked disappointed in my answer.
Did he was he looking for like a refund or?
I think he was looking for a
Looking
new
for a
cigar.
Okay.
Yeah, I also think he was hoping it was a beetle.
There are typically,
Odd
so
reason.
just side note, cigar nerd knowledge, there are typically going to be beetle, it's going to gross some people out, eggs in most tobacco,
Mhm.
right? So one of the
Eggs.
things they do is they usually will, part of it is they freeze the cigars or the tobacco, but typically they freeze the cigars at some point, bring it back down slowly. So like if you went, like, so when I went to Cuba, it was like one of those things. If you got the farm rolls, you would, when you got back, we would throw it in the freezer of your refrigerator for about 24 hours.
Yep.
And then into your refrigerator for 24 hours, and then
Wow.
bring it back to room temperature. So you kind of bring it back down. The freezer will typically it's gonna crack the eggs.
Okay.
Basically it'll kill the eggs.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not all live, obviously, but like anything that could possibly be, when they thrive on higher heat and higher humidity.
Mm.
So that's where, like down south or in the countries these are typically made, even in Florida, sometimes considered its own country, it's going to be warm, humid, and all that stuff. So they have to really maintain the opposite of what we do. So like right now in Tinderbox at Easton, it's like we're turning our humidity down.
Yeah.
A little bit, not down, but like we're not pumping like we were a week or two ago when it was still like up and down 30s, 40s, and then 50s, 60s.
Colder gets more humidity, right?
Typically the relative humidity goes down, so it spikes a bit, and so that's the beetle thing. So when you see it, it'll be like what Nate said, like a hole on the side.
Yeah.
And that is them basically chewing through the tobacco to get out.
Yep.
So
They'll even chew through the cellophane.
And they're not going to hurt you if they're still in there. Like,
yes,
if they're so small. Yeah. So yeah, it's not
I
like
just
you're
saw on Facebook in one of the groups that the guy had a bag of a cigar, or in the bag, and the beetle was crawling around on the cigar.
You saw a YouTube video? What is it?
It was like somebody shared it on one of the Facebook groups. On a cigar. Is that kind of bullshit? Maybe it was AI. I don't know.
I mean, it
Gave me the Lily.
could be. I didn't see it, but it's probably just a bug.
Yeah.
Somebody threw a bug in there and went, oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen cigars that have been ravaged by beetles before.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're tiny.
You don't typically see them like you're smoking and all of a sudden like one's like, oh shit, it's getting hot, and it like runs out of there. It's not like that.
Yeah, that doesn't
mean,
happen.
Flies away.
Yeah. You don't have to worry about that guy.
With me. No.
All right. So yeah. I should put this up there too while we're talking about it for the last 10 minutes. Yeah, last year was the Azul, totally different blend. This is something new. This is, as Sean Williams from Cohiba had said, second time they put a San Andreas Maduro wrapper on it from Mexico. It's very different from last year. What are you guys' thoughts on the cigar? Obviously, the construction we've all kind of boasted about, which you would hope to expect at $30, 10-count box, 3,000 boxes made. And this is coming from a level 9 roller from one of the most coveted factories, definitely in America, but actually in the most of the cigar world.
Does like level 9 rollers, I mean, they're putting as much tobacco. It feels like it's a little bit heavier. Maybe I'm just thinking because it's like you look at
that's just the blend. I mean, they're just following a recipe. It's just
okay.
Those are the best people there when it comes to putting a cigar together. I mean, because like when you look at the cigar from a distance, like it's the wrapper's very smooth. Well, it's got like some bumps on it, just those natural kind of oil pockets.
That's gonna be a San Andreas Mexican wrapper.
Yep.
You know,
but like the line work on the cigar itself is straight line.
Yeah.
I mean, you could tell. I mean, you could sit there and just roll this thing right across the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so level line roller, from my understanding, so if you get like a Figurado
Yeah,
or even a number 2 Bellicoso or a
Lancero.
Torpedo, whatever you say, Lancero as well, you're not going to have, you know, the guy that or woman that's been on the job for 45 days, you know, they're past training and they're not going to be able to do that typically very well. They could, but they need more practice. So for a level line roller that has the ability to roll any Vitola and they're rolling a 6x52 Toro, they're usually going to knock it out of the park. Like it's a perfect filler.
I'm impressed with that.
It looks like it should be tight, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, when I cut mine, I mean, it felt dense. The head feels very tight. Like there's not much give or sponginess to it. And you know, and it did have a closed foot on it.
Yeah.
So that could potentially been an issue on the cold draw.
Could have been.
Was that closed foot? But as soon
It is
as
nice to get that wrapper blast right in the light up.
oh yeah. I mean, whether people do, that's one of the things that's cool about either a shaggy foot or a closed foot. When you get that closed foot, you know, they basically, the wrapper extends past the foot of the cigar and they just fold it over.
Right.
So when you first light it, like all you're getting initially is just that wrapper. And then with the shaggy, it's the opposite. The wrapper is short of the foot. So when you first light it up, you're just tasting the filler of the binder. And then once it hits the wrapper, it changes the flavor of the cigar. So now you know like how much flavor that wrapper leaf imparts.
That's awesome. Who was the guy again that they did this with? Or what was the name of the
factory?
Yeah.
El Teton de Bronze.
Do you get it? Is there anything from them that you guys get, or are they more boutique, or are they?
So interestingly enough, yes, normally they are going to be small batch, or you know, if you want to do limited runs on those. They do have one now called El Teton de Bronze Redemption. That's do have,
Aaron said.
Yeah, so that's another one that is now regular production for them. They do, I think, I forget if I have that one or I have the newest one that we can review at another podcast from them. That's going to be regular production.
Last year, didn't we do one that was it Macanudo that did one out of El Teton de Bronze that we had at the shop and did on the podcast? Like it actually said El Teton de Bronze on the box, on the lid.
It wasn't Macanudo. I think it might have been Redemption.
No.
Do you guys sell them or no?
Not the Redemption. We did get some of the newest ones, so we can do that next week while we're talking to Barrelcraft.
Are we doing a show next week?
2 weeks.
Okay.
I do have one complaint about the cigar.
Should make more.
No.
Okay.
If you can see this, they have the SKU code.
Oh yeah.
It's actually on the band.
It's not on the.
It's not a sticker.
So
it's like zoom in if you can, but
there is, and it's one thing about Forged in general that they're pretty corporate, right? And they want to make sure that everyone is happy. So one of the things that most, especially brick and mortars, will have. Does it come off?
No.
Oh yeah.
It's built into the.
It's part of the paper print.
So one of the things that a lot of brick and mortars, especially the bigger ones, but even the newer ones, they want to have a SKU on there so that they can use it in their POS system.
Yeah.
So when they scan it, the issue is these came cellophane, right?
Yes.
Yeah. In the box, they're not.
Oh, okay.
So they don't have the cellophane like this with the sticker on it.
Okay.
So these are coming, to my knowledge, as is in the box. So when you buy an individual one, the store can then scan it.
Yeah.
So that's why it's done like that. I agree with you. That is a big critique for me. The one that really, I think, upset me the most, not that I'm emotionally invested, but like was the CAO, also General Product, CAO BX3. They had a QR code on it. And I'm like, all right, now we're making it, I feel a little tchotchke. You know what I mean? Like, it's like we're getting a little bit, like you're taking away the elegance of it.
Yes.
To your point, you got a $30 cigar here. Beautiful construction. The band on it is, in my opinion, beautiful.
Yes.
The blue popped more than this gray, but whatever. But the gold is gorgeous. And the interesting is when you actually get the light on it, as Cohiba always does, they've got these little hidden things in
rainbow look.
textures.
Yeah.
The logo there on the gray has like a O on it throughout. So I agree with you.
The texture that you see on the gold secondary band, that is the same texture that is on the slate gray of the primary.
It's just not as popping.
Yeah, but it's the exact same pattern.
Yeah, so I agree with you, Sean. That's a good point. That's something if you want, like, it's not even nitpicking. That's just like, that is function over fashion there for the brick and mortars.
You get a nice cigar with a nice wrapper, and you're kind of admiring all of a sudden you come in like, oh, I can just take that off. No, wait.
Yeah.
But no one posts pictures of the back of their band.
No, and it would cost more money to do it if it's a two-step process. They're putting on the bands, and then you have the band person basically has to put a little sticker on there that if you wanted to take it off, to your point, you could.
Like, no, whoever they're using to make their bands, they just put it as part of the artwork, and then it just the printer prints it out onto the band. It's a one-step process at that factory. That, the production team doesn't have to worry about on the actual manufacturer of the cigar side.
So you're sitting with your friends, and all of a sudden you're like, "That's a good cigar." You're like, hey, what the hell is that thing on top of your? What are you smoking? A number
6. No.
Number 89674-16739.
Next, you're up.
It's like Beetlejuice waiting for his.
Exactly. All right. Thoughts on the actual blend, though. What are we tasting? What do you like about it? We're past the production. Sean's maybe dying.
Stupid cough. Yeah. Go ahead. Need to get some bourbon in me.
Perfect. That'll help.
Typical of San Andreas, there's definitely a dryness on the palate with this cigar, but there's also like a toasted wood note that accompanies that. Little bit of spice on the retro, not much, I would say, on the palate itself. But the primary flavor I get is just this, almost like a wood char toast from a whiskey barrel, but just that kind of flavor note on the palate.
Okay.
I get a little. I agree completely with what he said on the retro. I'm always trying to see what I can get on the retro, other than the little pepper bomb. That's not a big pepper bomb; it's a little one. But I get some earthy notes when you can get past the part of the pepper. It kind of like lingers on the back end of the retro. How you start getting more of an earthy note, and so I'm hoping that the pepperness, like you smoke cigars like these, and you smoke them long enough, like this particular cigar, your things are going to start changing in the flavor, and you kind of get used to the pepper part of it, and then you can really pick up the flavor notes. Like the earthy or whatever they were, but you can really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm gonna reiterate some of your stuff, but I mean the dryness of it kind of surprised me. So this is the second time I've smoked this blend, and again, as the press release says, it's the 6th time that they've teamed up on this project, and they're not going to keep coming out with the same one. So I expect something different. There is a sharpness to it.
Yes.
Not ammonia, not like it's.
But that's what I meant when I said that dry.
Yeah. And that's,
toasted, that woodiness to it. Because sometimes you smoke a cigar that, like if it has cedar on the cigars themselves.
Yeah.
Or like some of the Aroas that have that really awesome cedar box that they use and that sheet of cedar in there. Like you can pick that cedar note up in some of those cigars. Because those two things are in contact with each other, there is some of that flavor transfer between those two.
So, question for you on getting flavors on the palate. Like I tend to get obviously more in the retro, but is there a trick, like for all us new people, to pick up flavors? Like you let it sit in your mouth like you would like a bourbon to let it kind of settle and find those flavors? Are you getting it more as you blow it out, and then you kind of get all of it at the back end of it?
Just all of it, what you said.
Okay.
So the flavor is in the smoke, because you're creating a combustion by pulling air through it. That smoke is carries the aromas of what's being burned. When you leave that on your palate, it's going to roll over your palate and your taste buds, and that's how you're going to pick up some of those flavor notes.
Okay.
So if you have a cigar that gives off a very thin smoke, not a whole lot of smoke is billowing out when you pull, that you're not necessarily going to get a whole lot of flavor because there's not a lot that's rolling around on your palate.
Right.
It's mostly just air and not smoke. But if you get a cigar that just absolutely billows smoke when you pull through it, that thick, heavy, creamy texture on that smoke, that then is what allows you to pick up more of those flavors. But to also answer your question, what I recommend people that are either just getting into cigars or they appreciate cigars, but they want to get better at picking out some of those flavor notes. Sometimes it's helpful if you're actually looking at a picture of like a flavor wheel and you kind of start on the inside of that flavor wheel and work your way out a little bit. Kind of like how 2 weeks ago we had the blind barrels and that tasting sheet that they had in their kit.
I just threw it out.
On that left side, you had broad, floral, you had spice, you had earth, you had sweet, you had things like that. And then as you worked over to the right, it broke it down more specifically.
Gotcha.
And sometimes, you just have to work through and do it enough to where your brain creates those little pathways. So that way, when you taste something, you're like, oh, this tastes like this because I remember tasting that, because your memory is so closely linked to your taste. That's why sometimes I can, taste a whiskey or I can taste a wine and I'm, pulling out a food or a candy that I haven't had in a decade. And I'm like, yeah, this reminds, I drink this wine. It reminds me of banana runs. And people look at me like I'm crazy. But then as soon as they try it, they're like, oh shit, you're right.
Yeah.
Now, okay, I get it.
You are crazy.
Like you,
Certified.
crazy.
Trying to pull up a because I was going to say, let's see, it all looks super weird. I don't even want to put this.
I'm actually.
I don't even want to put this on the screen.
Yeah, now I'm actually just now starting to work of going from cigar to whiskey and back and forth, and let the smoke the cigar enough by itself to get the flavor notes of that raw. And now it's like, all right, now let's go ahead and
intermingle.
Yeah, because makes a good transition.
I'm gonna regret this. I already know it. Just
you try to share that.
Yeah, I know I'm gonna regret this here, but this is just
it's not quite what I meant.
It's a visual. It's a potential visual.
It's a bunch of different.
Excuse me.
It's a wide open mouth.
All right.
I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Let's see if I can get this up. Because what I was saying is I don't really what? It kind of hits the middle of the tongue where there's not a whole lot of taste buds, in my opinion. So like it does hit a little bit of the back, which does have trying to get this up on the screen. It's got to sync here at some point. There she is.
There it is.
There.
She does have lipstick.
All right. Let's see if we can get up on the screen here. So
where's Ray so he can
producer here.
Go off here.
Invalid. So I'll try another one while we talk. But I'm getting more of like the bitterness, which is in the back of the tongue. So let me see if I can find this. Oh, great. There's the freezer.
I feel like
let me see if I can get this in.
I'm not going to say anything much about the bourbon, but I do get some dryness on the bourbon. So when you get that and the cigar, you're like, holy shit, I need some water.
Keep going.
Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting to see how this pairing is going to be.
Did you ever smoke the Riviera, Sean?
What color is it?
Purple.
Yes. I believe I have. I think. I don't remember it though.
Because when Steve said that the Riviera was the only other cigar they did that used Mexican San Andreas, immediately my mind started comparing those two. Now, obviously,
hard not to, right? Yeah, different factories, but
different factories, and also everything underneath the wrapper is different as well. But yeah, this one definitely has, I think, a lot more behind it than the Riviera did.
Sure,
Riviera was really good, medium, smooth.
There we go.
Hey, there it is.
Sorry to anyone that doesn't just tuning in. A little different for the show tonight. I know.
What's umami?
Hey, you got to know what that is, don't you? Because I don't.
It's Japanese. Like, you ever had the fried umami?
No. The other diagrams I saw, literally, there aren't many taste buds there. So is it pretty bland?
Oh,
no, it's.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I don't know anything about the umami. I'm just saying it's bland.
Well, I don't want to just make shit up.
So, but this is why I wanted to bring this up. I don't know why it's like this. This is the one that worked that I was able to upload to it.
But it also tells you.
Very visual.
Yeah.
But there are cigars that you do get these food flavors. When we talk about food flavors, you have like the sweet and the salty up front, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not as much sour. That's usually not a good thing to fire up on a cigar on your tongue, right? On the palate. But you do have the bitter, which I think is kind of in the back here. And that's part of the dryness that I think we're getting. Just can't wait to see if Ray tunes in.
Umami is the fifth basic taste. Along sweet, sour, bitter, salty, it's often described as savory, meaty, or broth-like.
Okay.
So, like, if you look at a lot of back labels on sake, like umami will be on one side, and then I forget, but there's a fruit that'll be on the other side of that spectrum. So some people want more of that savory style of sake, and then some want more like the banana flavors and stuff like that.
Okay.
What I really get it the taste on is when you leave it sit in your mouth for a minute, and then when you, like you said, blow it out, I'm starting to get more of those flavors once it leaves.
Yeah. I think because with the dryness of it kind of leaves you a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And the retro, I think, is nice. You do have just a slight bit of pepper to it. I'm going to take this off the screen.
We'll save it for when Ray comes back and say this is for him.
Yeah. Well, then also, Sean, since you would ask about tasting stuff, that also comes down to each individual because different people have a different concentration of taste buds on their palate. So people that make excellent somms and food critics and stuff like that are people that have higher concentrations of taste buds on their palate because they're able to pick out more. So if you're on the other side of that spectrum where they're a little bit more spaced out, you don't have as many, like that's just a genetic thing. Sorry about your luck. You can still enjoy stuff, but you're not necessarily going to get as much out of it.
I'm almost getting now that I've been doing more, I'm getting a shortbread cookie kind of taste in the front end.
Okay.
So I see now, like that.
Did you
really
pause it on that screen?
I
feel like I can put the picture back up if you want.
His feed's a little behind.
There we go. All right. Moving on. I just want to keep it
just
on.
do a screenshot and hold it there the rest of the night.
All right. Nate, you looked into this. I appreciate that. This is going to be thanks to Chad Owen and his friend Nate. They brought this back from different Nate. But we thank you guys for bringing this back to us for the podcast. This is going to be first call, barrel strength or cask strength, bourbon whiskey.
Yeah.
Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. Never had it before, never heard of it. You said you've heard of it, Nate.
I had heard of it. I had seen some stuff online and social media and stuff about it. They're an NDP, non-distillery producer.
Okay, so they're sourcing.
Yes, so they actually started in 2016, and when they started, all they were doing was just putting away barrels. Okay. So there are 5 Kentucky distilleries that they work with. They have, bourbon, rye, they have wheat whiskeys, but they have 40 different recipe barrels that they're sourcing from 5 different distilleries.
Okay.
One of them is Bardstown, just based on barrel heads that people see when they do tours there. They're also directly next door to Wilderness Trail, so I wouldn't put it past them if that's one of them as well.
Might have gone over.
They're not necessarily disclosing where they're coming from. But they have, I think, 4 rick houses in Kentucky that they're aging barrels in. In the first 5 years that they were around, no one knew anything. There was no press about them. There was just the labels that they have to submit to the government for approval and everything like that. But in the first 5 years, they had put away 100,000 barrels of whiskey.
Wow.
But no one even knew who the owners were or anything like that. So nothing was known until about 2021. Then they started releasing like who they are, what they're doing, stuff they're putting away. Here's who's involved in the project. You've got the master distiller. He was at Michter's. He was the master distiller at Woodford at one point. Before here, he was actually the master distiller at Angel's Envy. So, someone who's been around the game.
Yeah.
So they're basically just taking those barrels and blending stuff together and then coming out with a product. They don't have a
So they're
whole lot.
sourcing the barrels. They're not sourcing just straight up and then bottling it, right? They're not like just bottling other people's juice straight up. They're blending from different things.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Just wanted to clarify.
It's IJW Whiskey is the parent company.
Okay.
That's the name. This is one of their products. There's not a whole lot in their portfolio that's out there on the market. They have a few bourbons that are on the market. They also recently acquired a mezcal brand just to kind of expand their portfolio a little bit. But yeah, and as far as product actually being out on the market, it's only been available for about 4 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Trying to see on the screen. I can't see it. What are we dealing with on proof here?
So the bottle that we have, do the math, it's going to come in at 113.2.
Okay.
So 56.6%.
Okay. So yeah, it's cask strength. Yes. Nothing like crazy.
No. And again, that also has to do with, the barrels that they're getting, what the entry proof is, because you can put it into a barrel up to 125. Some distilleries go a little bit lower depending on the product.
Right.
That's why sometimes you might get a cask strength that's under 100 proof. And people sit there and go, how is that possible? It's like, well, if they only put it in at 105,
sure,
then yeah, they could have lost a lot of alcohol.
Kind of got
It's not burning enough, so you smell it.
No. Were you humping glue earlier?
You know what this reminds me of? When I had my first couple sips before we went live, you know what it reminded me of right away? 1792.
Okay.
Just that kind of flavor profile. That's kind of what it reminded me of.
Got it.
Yeah, on this one you can kind of see on the label there, they have this racehorse, and then above it says a call to the post. So first call that when they play the dun, 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 so getting close to the Kentucky Derby. That's right.
Derby weekend. Yeah, the nose is bright. I mean, I get what you're saying. You get a little ethanol, especially when you first poured it, Sean. But I do get a little brightness to it. I get a little bit of that fruit, like a tart apple
On the nose.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Good.
So sometimes if you first go, especially drinking out of a Glencairn, if you get a lot of ethanol on the nose, one thing that helps is to actually blow into the glass,
get it out,
because that'll force the alcohol vapors out, and then you can go in and smell it, and you don't have that alcohol fumes blasting you.
Right.
Would it be a different flavor? Would you get more of it maybe if it were in a rocks glass, so it's not so concentrated?
So with a rocks glass, you're not going to get as much of the vapor hitting you right in the nostrils. Also, other aromas are going to be leaking out through the rest of the opening on a rocks glass, so the nose isn't going to be as condensed.
Sure.
There are some companies that make what are called a single malt glass, where it's straight walled and then the lips actually fan out and kind of roll over a little bit. So that way, the purpose of that one, because it's straight walled and it's just a little bit wider than what the head of the Glencairn is, like you still get a nice concentration of aromas on the nose. But when you go to drink it, those ethanol vapors actually kind of dissipate and roll off the side of the rim of the glass. So that way, as you're taking a sip, you're also not getting blasted in the nose with that alcohol.
Never want to get blasted in the nose.
Yeah.
No. Did I bring up a bad memory?
No. I'm just trying to pick up what I'm getting on any of it, and it's
so flavor wise.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time with it. It's very dry on the palate for me.
I
could be the cigar, honestly.
So yeah,
when a little dryness too, but I do.
When I had those first few tasting sips before we went live, just checking on the bottle, like the reason
we had some floaters in there.
Yeah, some crystal structures in the bottom. But no, it just kind of has that kind of soft sweetness, and like not necessarily real heavy like caramel, but kind of like a blend between caramel and honey, that type of sweetness in there.
Yeah.
Just like a classic bourbon note.
Yeah.
That is real popular nowadays. Just something that's sweet, but it's not, just butterscotch and stuff like
I think
that.
that's what I'm used to lately from all the
Yeah.
ones we've had. And so I'm expecting that. And yeah, it's more like simplistic. It's not all this different things. Like you said, just
It's not a
bourbon.
super complex whiskey.
I think it drinks above its proof. In my
You
opinion.
think it drinks hotter than 113?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is a heat to it, like on the palate. And again, we're doing this with a cigar that's got, we already talked about that, right? So it could be influencing that. Can I see the bottle? I want to see the back of it. Thank you.
Well, I get a lot of those sweet notes initially on the palate. And then it's not until like the finish that the heat kind of sits around. But the heat really just sits around at the back of the tongue and back. Like
Right here.
I don't get it in the throat. I don't get it in the chest.
I get a little in chest, but it might be heartburn.
Did you have a burrito?
No.
Or if you're having a slight bit of heartburn, this one enhances that heartburn.
This goes really well with Tums. No, the flavor's good. I do like this. It's just like, and it's funny you said 1792 if you're talking about just the small batch, right?
Yeah.
That's the base,
Yeah.
if you will, level. 1792. That's not always a go-to for me. So the comparison that you just said, it's good. I enjoy this as well, but it does have a little bit of it. It's I don't know if it is the ethanol or what it is, but it's just, it's something there that when I say it drinks, above its proof, it's not necessarily a compliment. Just mute us. Yeah, so it's ready to go.
Every time I see his hand go up, I'll just mute.
Yeah, good thing I don't edit this show.
Yeah.
I'd be like,
but no,
isolate the mic.
I've had the
Isolate the
1792
mic.
foolproof too, and like my mind was kind of making that comparison as well.
Yeah, it's a bright, little sharp. If you want to put that back over there,
there could be a decent amount of rye in this blend.
That's what I was thinking.
And that's what
that wouldn't be surprising. Yeah, would not be surprising. Yeah, it's good. It's gonna be. It's got that little. When I say bright, it's almost too bright.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
What do you get on the
that
finish?
makes sense?
Because I'm trying to figure it out. And I'm
gonna set the cigar down for a little bit, take a sip of it, and kind of see where it goes on that.
Yeah.
They put it on the bottle that it's kind of as straightforward as you can get, right towards the bottom of that label. What does that say, Nate?
On
the second paragraph there.
First call, cask strength is bottled as it comes out of the barrel, offering a refined yet raw bourbon packed with bold flavor that only a barrel proof whiskey can provide.
So I think they're kind of like pushing that, what we're experiencing. They're trying to, we've all had enough barrel proof, cask strength, whatever you want to call it, right? We've had enough of that. And some of them drink below their proof and some are right on it, some are above it, in my opinion. And I think that this is one that is above it. And I think they're calling it out right there. I don't know if that's a intentional thing by then, that by the people that are putting this in a bottle. They are almost preparing you for what we're getting, where it's like, this is going to have a little bit of a punch to it, right?
Yeah. But I think you were going to finish.
Go ahead.
I think anyone who's into, like, you don't have to be a bourbon geek or something like that, but someone who is into bourbon, I think a lot of those people do know that when you get into a cask strength product, you are expecting definitely more heat.
Yeah.
But you're also expecting just a heavier concentration of flavor because it's not being watered down.
Is it young?
No, this does not taste young. This does not have that, to me, it does not have that bitiness to it. I mean, this is at least 4 years old. But it does not have that bite of some of the 2 or 3 year products that we've had before.
Sure.
Or the ones
not bitey. Yeah, you're right. It's not bitey.
No. Or it doesn't taste like it's coming from one of those distilleries that has been doing, smaller barrels or artificially aging and pressure cooking and stuff like that. All the things that some brands try to do to bypass time. Like this tastes like someone took a bourbon and was like, hey, let's just not add water to it. And, how it comes out of the barrel. I think that's the purpose. Like,
but
we want this to appeal to the person who wants the whiskey as it is. Like, not cutting it. They're not trying to make it 80, 90 proof where it's more approachable by the masses. Your casual bourbon drinker, it typically does not go after things that are above 100 proof. they're typically going to be in that 80, 90 proof,
Right.
somewhere around there,
Right.
because they just want to have bourbon and, have especially in the US, they just want something that's a little sweet on the palate.
Yes.
They don't necessarily want something that's a little spicy. They just want to, have a drink and have a decent drink. It's the ones that are really into it that are seeking out that barrel proof because they want those heavier flavors. They want more concentration. Any of the bourbon guys I know that go for cask strength, they're not doing that because they want to drink something that's going to get them hammered sooner. They are literally going after it because they want something that's more flavorful.
And maybe more of a challenge to see if they can pick out what they're getting. I put a drop of water in here.
I was going to say, Nate, drop of water in that to see where you go with it.
And it definitely takes
when you're ready.
On the front end, it takes some of the ethanol out, and I get more sweetness, almost a butterscotch, actually.
Yeah, it needed it.
But on the finish, if I'd be getting ethanol on the finish, like not then while I let it sit for maybe like a minute, then I'm starting to get some flavors, but you still get the ethanol.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. I'm not getting as much ethanol. I'm in a little bit of water takes the edge off of what I feel like where I said it drinks above its proof, drinks higher than a proof. It was almost.
I kind of wish I brought one of my sample glasses just to pour a little bit of this in there for a coworker, because yesterday at work, I took a sample bottle of something I had at home, something that I actually hadn't poured for a while, but it was just sitting on my counter. And I was like, you know what? Because I'd been bringing some higher proof stuff and Scotch and Irish whiskey and bourbon. And I was like, let me pour a little bit of this. And it's something that's very well known, something that people wait in line for. And I was like, let me just pour a little bit of this and, see what this person guesses. And I was like, here, try this. And he's actually really good. He might actually be better than Josh when it comes to guessing proof.
Okay.
And he was drinking it. And he goes, yeah, I wouldn't put that anything over 90 proof. So I'm just going to say, 90, and it's a, $30-$35 bottle. And I was like, it's 90 proof and it's $42.
Wow.
It was Eagle Rare.
God.
Just
God bless it.
And he goes, I stand by what I say. I wouldn't pay more than $30 for that.
Oh,
and I was like, easy.
Get out of
easy.
here. Calm down.
Yeah.
Everyone calm down. All right.
I think $42 is pretty good for that bottle these days.
Yeah. 10-year-old whiskey that people are paying 100 at least for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Like I said, calm down. All right. What do you think?
Adding a little bit of water actually imparts this kind of candy note to it.
There's more flavor. There's more flavor to it.
Like there's all of a sudden
proof down.
There's all of a sudden this candied fruit note to it.
Yes.
Almost like getting into that sweet tart or run, like just that classic candy, like
less heartburn.
It gets rid of the hug altogether.
I still get a decent amount of that spice and burn that lingers on the back of the palate.
Okay.
Even after adding water. But the front palate is definitely more explosive.
Yeah.
Yeah. In a good way.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Rating time. As we round out the end of part 1 here. Whiskey cigar pairing.
I know this bottle was donated. Do we know what the price is? Okay.
Don't. Did you find it?
I'm guessing 30 or 40 maybe.
I don't think it's crazy, but I think it's going to be higher than that. I feel like average. I'm going to say $49.95. 99. $49.99. Excuse me.
I'm going to do 35.
Straight up.
$34.99.
Perfect.
$1.
So it is often found between 30 and $40.
Ooh. Who wins?
What you guessed? 50.
Nah, that's right.
What was your guess?
$34.99. I'm right.
Sean wins.
He's right in the middle.
Congratulations, Sean.
Thank you. I'll be here all week.
You win rating first.
Okay. Awesome.
That's not a prize.
It is. 10's the best. We do 3 ratings: whiskey, cigar, and pairing.
The whiskey, I'll probably do a 7.5. It seemed for me, it for my taste buds and flavor, what I pick up more is when I do add that water to it. But without the water, it's sometimes for me, it's a little overpowered with like the burn or like the hug, and then the ethanol for me. But doing the water, you get some more. You definitely get, like Nate said, some like a candy, or I almost got a butterscotchy to it a little bit. Back end still, for me it took away the burn or the hug when you drop the water in it. So I still got some flavor on the back end, but mostly I don't know why. Like I mentioned earlier, it almost has like a ethanol aftertaste. But then if I wait another 30 seconds or more, then I start getting some better flavors. The cigar, I'm gonna go a 9 with the cigar. I just think very well constructed, great flavor. Plus, learning how to get the flavor on the palate a little bit better than I used to be, and with the retro, I really enjoy it.
Is it because of this picture?
It's because of the skew on the back. Oh, that, yes, for sure. That bumped up to 9 because of the picture. All right, Ray.
Don't get excited.
Hi, Ray. Welcome. We have a mouth.
Oh.
I just said what you posted.
For the visually impaired.
The pairing's probably 7.75. I did notice I didn't really get much on the drink, taking a sip first and then take a hit of cigar. But on doing the cigar first and then the whiskey, I got a lot more sweeter flavor on the palate from it.
Yeah.
So I am going to try it now that I've diluted it with a drop of water to see if that's changed at all. But so it's like I said, it wasn't one of those like, holy shit, that's a totally different flavor profile when you mix the two for me. So that's why I kind of kept it a little bit lower.
Nate,
before I do mine, did you want to read off on that press release what they list as the flavors on this? Because you skipped that.
I did.
So because we've talked
and
pretty much.
The award goes to tasting notes of cocoa.
I smelled that.
Wood. Yeah. Talked about that.
Nailed that one.
Hazelnut.
Well, you don't know what that is.
I've had hazelnut creamer before in coffee.
Oh, okay.
Did your lips swell up from it?
No, it's probably fake.
Okay.
Yeah. he's got a nut allergy, so anytime there's a nuttiness
peanut, so I don't know.
Yeah. Anytime
do you eat hazelnuts and just by itself?
No.
I have.
And I hate the flavor. I hate the coffee flavor too.
That's a lot of passion there.
I don't like it.
All right. Yeah, no, I got it.
I've tried it many times.
I like
guilt about it.
I like hazelnuts. It's a tough shell to crack, but yeah. Hazelnuts are good.
Just like Sean.
Sean's nuts. Yep.
No.
No, you said no. I'll stop.
Nate. Ratings, please.
On the whiskey.
No one's listening anymore.
On the whiskey, by itself, before adding anything to it, I was probably going to be in the 8 range for the whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I think that a cask strength in that $35, $30 to $40 price point, like that's a bargain these days, especially from an NDP, someone who's buying other people's barrels. Like usually when we see that stuff, we definitely expect that just the base product to be starting at like $40 or $50.
Right.
And then a cask strength, add another 20 to 30 on top of that.
Right.
The fact that they're, but they've been laying these barrels down for as long as they have, and they're putting out a cask strength that's usually under $40 a bottle. I think that's pretty darn impressive. There's just not a lot of complexity to this bottle.
Yep.
It's a good sipper. It's a good thing to, like, if you're going to drink different things throughout the night, like not necessarily the first thing, unless you're going to add water to it, but it's not going to be the last thing you drink.
Curious to try an old fashioned.
I think it could.
Yeah.
I think
I would do Manhattan because I don't want the sugar.
Yeah.
Right. And like the old fashioned, I feel like the sugar, like it's going to be like that's like you take a sip and it's too sweet.
Yeah. But no, I think
you know what I mean.
I think what
the sweet to begin with. So I don't think there's so much sweetness to begin with.
Okay, that's fair. No, that's fair.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Are you adding simple syrup to yours, or
it's just I think it's too much.
Okay.
I think Manhattan's better for this.
But I think this
just with the bitters to time.
Yeah, I think this could be decent in a cocktail because that higher proof. Mm-hmm. You should still
Good
be able.
Point. Yeah.
You should be able to taste the whiskey in the cocktail. That's why. Yeah. That's why usually anytime someone comes in looking for a bottle for a cocktail, I try and recommend anything 100 or higher just so it doesn't get lost in the cocktail.
Sure.
Yeah,
Like you still want to taste the whiskey itself.
for sure. Yeah.
So, but I think this is a solid bottle, especially at that price point. Like this is something that's really easy to drink for me, at least. You know, even at 113, I still think it's pretty easy drink. Just like I said, not a lot of complexity. Nice little sweetness, a little spicy on the finish, but there's just not a whole lot there.
Straightforward.
But then again, what do you want from a $40 bottle? Like, how much complexity are you expecting from a $40 bottle?
Eagle Rare.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say the same thing.
Wouldn't pay more than 30.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, there are some people that drink Eagle Rare and like, yeah, I'd rather just spend 27 on Buffalo Trace. Like, whatever. But I think it's
same person used to like Jones over a Bland's. Go on with the cigar, please.
The cigar. Did you say they said this is a full body?
I don't know if it classified that actually in here.
I thought it said so. I'm giving the cigar about an 8.5.
Okay.
You know, like I said, it
deep, rich, well balanced profile.
Okay, well balanced. Definitely agree with that. Like this is not a full body punch in the mouth type of cigar. This is something that's a little bit more finesse to it.
Yeah.
Like you kind of have to search for some other things that are going on in this cigar, which kind of makes you pay attention to the smoke. So don't expect to sit there and just absolutely be blown away necessarily by the cigar, but there are some uniquenesses to this blend that I think people that really like Cohiba and are fine with spending $30 on a cigar, I think this is something that's definitely going to appeal to those people. So, as far as the pairing, I'm going to give the pairing a 6. I don't think they go very well together. Because of the sweetness I initially get off the whiskey and the dryness of the cigar, I thought these would go well together. Yeah. I thought smoking the cigar and then going to the whiskey, like the dryness from the cigar would just open the palate to receive that sweetness and just amp it up. It didn't.
Yeah.
The water was the best thing. The water did more to the whiskey than the cigar did.
I agree. For me, the whiskey, I'm with you guys. Would you say, Nate? You get an 8? 8
on the whiskey.
You 7.5. I'm right there. I'll do 7.5. Again, going back and it'd be interesting to do a back-to-back with 1792 because that's one that so many people like, right? Just the regular 1792 and other products from them. And it never really hit my palate very well. And this is a good whiskey. I don't think it's for me on my palate. It's not my favorite flavor profile. However, it is pretty straightforward, as Nate said. I think this is a good bottle. When you introduce the price, it elevates my opinion of it. If this was coming in at like
60, 70
60
bucks.
to 100, I'm like, no, I would never. But for 30 to 40, well, it's nice to try something different, and they're doing some cool things with it. So I think that, I'll give it I'm with you, Sean, 7.5.
I think it goes to Aaron's question very early on is how much does price play a factor on the rating of a cigar?
So it does.
I think also on the bottle.
Yeah, and I was going to bring that in here with the Cohiba Serie M. This is the Reserva Plata. This is, every time I say Siri, she's listening. And so this is something that at $30, this is it is what it is. This is a $30 San Andreas wrapper cigar, right? So this is one of the probably best cigars with a wrapper that is the San Andreas Mexican wrapper leaf. However, and I like those. I like them at the give or take $15 range. So what elevates this one is that construction we talked about. The construction is impeccable. The draw we all thought was a little firm, not just because of the closed foot, but I mean it looks like it should be tight. When you look down at the cut, you look at like, but it's fantastic. So this is something that I really enjoy this cigar. I am one of those that objectively, I think this cigar would be a 8.5. It's extremely good. The price point, I struggle with it because I could pick other San Andreas wrapper cigars, and I know there's other tobaccos in it, but just that how it gets classified a lot of times, I would pick other ones that are half the price, probably, instead of buying this for $30, if that makes sense.
No, I agree.
So it and then you factor in a little bit more subjectively. I miss the Azul from last year because I really love that cigar. So when it switches paths so dramatically to this blend, it's kind of like, no, I get it. You can't do the same thing. This is something with different tobaccos. You're trying something different. If I had this Serie M next to the last one, the Azul, $30, same price on both, I'm going to pick the blue one every time.
I'm trying to remember that cigar. I don't even remember that cigar.
Okay.
There is no Dana, only Azul.
I might have one for you, Nate, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's fair. I mean, and $30 for Cohiba, like that is definitely within the realm of some of their new releases.
It's on the normal price point now.
Yeah, I
right?
mean, yeah, aside from the Rubicon, but
right.
Yeah, I mean, but you know, for Cohiba to do just a 3,000 box release and coming out of this factory, $30 is reasonable.
Yeah.
For what it is, because there's a lot that goes in to be able to make this cigar where they're making it. There's a lot of underlying costs to be able to make this cigar. And this is not something that they are trying to make for the masses. Obviously, they only did 3,000 boxes, but this is not for your normal, everyday, casual cigar smoker. This is for more of the cigar nerds. This is for people that really appreciate what Cohiba has done over the last 20 years.
Yeah. And Sean Williams, who's the brand ambassador and has his hand in the blending and stuff, I think that he's got a you want to try different things when you have this series, right? You want to be able to, like, all right, let's do one differently with San Andreas wrappers are all the rage for Maduros, mostly that and broadleaf. So let's go with this. And I think they knocked it out of the park for the project. For me, it's just not, it's not like a 10 out of 10. It's not, but I really enjoy the cigar. The pairing, I am leaning towards both you, more Nate on that. The pairing, I'm like a 6. They are two fairly strong flavor profiles that they stand up to one another, but I don't think they mesh well together. Never had the whiskey. I had smoked one of these. I know you guys hadn't smoked these before, so I was curious to see, but I think that you could pick something on the other side of the coin for each of these that would be a much better match.
Let me ask you this. If they were to make something similar to the Azul in terms of flavor and construction, would you have been more upset being like, this is just like the one from last year, they should have switched it up?
Right. No.
So, 2020.
Oh, that's good.
But if Steve liked that one so much, Steve's probably gonna be like, "Oh, cool! This reminds me of the Azul. Like, this is awesome. I really like that cigar."
Okay,
but you're also trying to come up with something different each year.
Let me answer it this way: if you brought out a 2026 Serie M, trying to make sure my phone doesn't listen, and you call it Azul, you package it the same. You have a risk because if it didn't do as well or you didn't have good feedback, people are tired of it and they want something different in that series. I'm really trying to make sure my phone you're going to have a disappointed audience. You're just releasing the same thing. I had that last year. For me, however, I will compare it to one of our sponsors, not because they're our sponsor, but the Monte Cristo Espada signature. Yeah. That I think it's the third time they've released it. And to my knowledge, it's the same blend. I'm excited every time they release that batch because I enjoy that cigar so much. If they came out with the Monte Cristo Espada signature 2026 and they're like, this year it's different, I'm like, fuck you.
You'll still,
you know what I mean? Like,
you'll still smoke it to know what it is and be able to sell it.
No, because I like the other one so much. So don't call it the same thing. They do it with the M Azul, the M Reserva Plata. Like I can appreciate that they are doing this. This is different every time. Crowned Heads does the Las Calaveras. We've had this conversation before on this one.
Yeah.
They changed the color of it. They released the blend information, but it's called Las Calaveras. Bold move from them to call it the same thing, put a different color on it,
And a different
then
blend.
and a different blend. But I'm just saying, like, to call it just the Las Calaveras 2026, I don't know if I'm going to like it or not. I liked last year's. I didn't like last year's. And then I'm like, I'm hesitant to maybe try this because if I didn't like last year's one, that's the other aspect of this.
Yeah.
So if you come out with
Yeah.
something and you don't change the color on it like they did here as far as the banding and the marketing.
Oh yeah.
You don't change the name of it. Like, it's just like, this is the Cohiba M, and you smoke this year's, and you're like, I didn't like it. And then next year they bring it out again. You're like, I didn't like last year, so I'm not paying $30 for this one. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
So they are doing enough to make it, it's essential to know that you are getting something completely different from this M series.
Well, and how many times have I told that when it comes to certain whiskeys
Yeah.
that come out once a
Right.
year? Like, there was one in particular, the Midwinter Night's Dram from High West.
Mhm.
A couple of years ago, the
Exactly.
release that came out, people didn't like it.
Yeah.
But then the next year it came out, a lot of people didn't, not the same people bought it, but it turned out to be an absolutely amazing
Right.
production.
Yeah.
So then the next year, the people who missed out and didn't buy it the previous were like, shit, I should have bought it. And now
They
it keeps
tried
coming back.
Yeah.
Like, damn it.
Yeah.
What about the year before the Azul? Did they do it?
I'd have to look into it. I forget what they all were.
I'm curious to see if there was a big difference between that and then the Azul.
Yeah. You're right.
Curious.
It's interesting because maybe I don't know the El Titan and Bronze factory products enough, but this is not what I expect out of them. So this is also a bold move from them to do a Mexican wrapper on stuff. They most likely have done it before. I just haven't smoked it. Anytime I think of El Titan and Bronze, I think of like the La Palina Goldie, which was very medium bodied. It was more like the Azul. It's like, I hate this, but it's like that, like, oh, this is what Cuban cigars could be or used to be, right? The construction is like the best.
Mhm.
This is like before we were born, and like pre-embargo. It's like if it comes out of the El Titan and Bronze factory, I'm like, this is what they mean when they said Cubans were the best before 1960, whatever, right?
Yes.
This is what
Yeah.
has transpired. They have the best tobacco. They're trying to hit that medium profile. They're trying to hit the saltiness. They're trying to hit those, and I'm like, that's what I think of. So when I think of El Titan, if you handed this to me and didn't tell me that, didn't have the Cohiba band on it, and you said, guess where this comes out of, I'd be like, I don't know, Nicaragua. Like, it's
You'd be
probably
playing
San
a numbers
Andreas.
game.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. Like, and you're like, what do you think this would cost? And I'm like, 12, 13. Like, construction's surprisingly good, but the flavor profile is not what I expect coming out of that Miami factory.
Yeah.
But
I
that's
would
just
guess-
maybe something that my ignorance or possibly their track record. So they did this with a small batch to see what the reception is through a major player like Cohiba to the masses. This might be a huge success, and now you're going to have demand from that factory to produce more San Andreas wrapped cigars.
And
then
word
I'm
of mouth
wrong.
can definitely launch
Sure.
it too.
Sure. There's a reason that people are using the San Andreas Mexican wrapper leaf. And again, I'm not negating the binder filler, but I'm just saying that is a selling point because it's done so well as a Maduro wrapper for so many different cigars.
And it's been more recent that it's had that success.
Yes.
Companies that put San Andreas wrappers on cigars 10, 15 years ago, most of those cigars did not do very well. They weren't for the mass markets of cigar smokers. But now that product has developed over time and just the farming and agricultural aspects have gotten better for that tobacco, it has been able to make better products.
Right.
Cool.
Well, cheers to part one, boys.
Yes. Sorry, I didn't do it right.
My bad, too.
Let me do it this way again. Come on.
There you feel better?
Yeah, better.
All right.
Naughty.
We're going to roll into part two here. I'm going to get the topic up on the screen here if I can find it. Did I do it right? Hey, I got it.
I'm gonna go.
Right.
I'm gonna go your way. So
Yeah. There you go. Knock something over.
Hit my toe.
It's all good. Yeah, it's a heavy water bottle. All right, Nate, you brought this topic for 356. Yeah, please don't do it in the street.
I thought he was
Come on,
going to do
man.
it on
I
the wheel.
just had it detailed. Not the first time someone peed on the wheel of my Cadillac.
This one?
Not this one.
Okay.
6 Cadillacs ago.
I love how you measure your car in 6 Cadillacs ago.
It's in college in my 1986 Fleetwood. Nate, embrace the space. So now more than ever, people fill every hour of every day with something. I'm going to leave it at that. You have some questions here that I'll put up on there, but do you want to kind of go over a little bit what you thought of with this? And I'm going to do what we've been doing, which I appreciate you putting some questions in there, because I will start posting them on the screen here if I can.
Okay.
But go ahead. You embrace the space.
No, so it kind of just working things out in my head over the afternoon when I was sitting outside or sitting in the basement today. Just thinking about stuff. This is kind of where my mind started to drift to. I think a lot of us in our generation, even the younger generations as well, we had been sold this whole idea of rise and grind.
All right, that's the first one I put up here.
Just grinding and just working your tail off. Like, if you want to be successful, you just got to work. Yeah, you just got to work.
There you go.
And then we start filling every hour of every day with something. Obviously, then if you have a relationship, marriage, throw kids in there. Like, obviously, those then add more things to your palette. I've got a friend of mine down in Georgia that I play video games with, and there's a lot of times where we can't necessarily get together because he's got to be at the softball fields for his daughter's tournament at 10 o'clock in the morning, and the last game first pitch is like 8:30 at night.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, yeah, it's on the other side of town. It's like a 2-hour drive. And I'm like, my other side of town I can get to in 30 minutes. Your other side of town is 2 hours away. We are not the same.
Very different.
But we sit there and like we've been sold this idea of just we just fill everything, because we've also been told like we almost feel guilty if we're not doing something. If we're not doing something to better ourselves, if we're not doing some sort of activity, if we're not going somewhere or spending money on something, like we're not doing enough. But then I think that's kind of what causes some people to, just get burnt out from doing too much all the time. And then, realizing like, okay, I just need some time, some space.
Yep.
Like I'm doing too much. I need some space. I need, like, when I have a really tough day at work, if I have a frustrating day at work or several days linked together, like the last thing I want to do like when I come home and my wife asks me like how my day was, I give her the quick highlights. Like, well, here's a really good customer interaction I had. Here's a really good sale I had.
I didn't kill anyone today.
Here. Well, that's an upside.
It's a highlight.
Maybe.
Not going to prison. Not today.
That's always a good one.
Right.
Yeah. Get away with it.
No, I meant you didn't do anything. Never mind.
Or it's like
we're recording.
Or
so just so
if something
out there and don't
like
make us witnesses.
If something bad happened at work, like, okay, because like that sticks with me. Like, here's something that bad that happened. But like if something bad didn't happen at work, or something like really awesome didn't necessarily happen, it was just a day at work, I don't have anything to tell. Like there's nothing, because my mind's just like,
how's school today? It's
like,
fine.
Yeah, like exactly. It's fine. Like, yeah, it was another day. Like, things were fine. The last thing I want to do necessarily, and sometimes I have to catch myself or remind myself of this, the last thing I want to do is come home and just think about all the problems I'm having at work or in social life or at home. Now, obviously, if there's
no separation there either, right?
Yeah,
so right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was someone else that I met years ago. I used to work with them. That person was really good at disconnecting.
So
like
important.
when they showed up, they were there 100%. They kicked ass. But then when they clocked out, like, that was it. They were done thinking about what was going on at work. It's like, cool. Now I'm at home.
Not all jobs can.
Not all
allow
jobs
that.
can, but like when I go home, you know, the last thing I want to do is sit there and dwell on any problems I'm having at work. I just want to sit there and I want to relax. I want to not think about that stuff.
All right.
Even if something bad is happening in my life, I don't want to spend all day thinking about it.
Let's dissect it a little bit here, right? So one of your first points right here was we grew up being sold the rise and grind mentality, but are we better for it? I want to preface this part of the conversation with one of the things that I've seen change recently from, and maybe it's just my vantage point, but it's there was the rise and grind. It's like, you know what, remember, like, so it was so big. We had guests on here, and some of them are like, you have to be that way, that entrepreneur mentality.
Yeah.
And not a plug, but like, he's been on the podcast before, you know him, Mike McGovern. Like, he's got that over different careers that he has right now. He's with he owns his own company. It's a roofing company, and he's helping me out again with this house and again with you. So, but he's got that rise and grind mentality when he needs it, right? So he also takes care of himself, big on fitness, big on health, but for what he's trying to do, he does really push that rise and grind. If he has to get up super early, if he has to work late, he does it. Kristen, my wife, just said, try having a direct report that's 12 hours time zone difference. And also have some, like, most of her work is during the US time zones, but then also on top of that, she's got one that's 12 hours away. So it's like both sides of the clock. It's very tough to do that. That the rise and grind was being pushed so hard. You know, if you wake up at 4:30 in the morning, that's not enough. Then you got to wake up at 3:30 in the morning. It was like all this stuff that was like this rise and grind. And it works for some people, and I think that's a very small amount of people. What I have seen, and that's what I want to say here with this part of it, is the new, in my opinion, the new health influencer thing is once again prioritizing 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night for recovery, for rest, for mental health, and it's like you go, and it's not just don't turn your phone on for the first 90 minutes, don't drink caffeine for the first so many minutes, you know, like, go outside and put your feet in the grass and, like, okay, calm down, you know what I mean? It's one of those things, though. It's like, yes, like, if you have to wake up at 6, then you go to bed so you can really push yourself to get at least 7 or so hours of sleep.
So vital.
Because you do this, I only sleep like 5 hours a night. It's like, that's not a brag anymore.
Yeah.
It was not too long ago. That was a brag. I sleep 5 hours.
I
stay up until, time. I stay up until, I go to bed at like 11 and I wake up at like 3 in the morning. You're like, that is super unhealthy.
Oh yeah.
Like, how do you get through the day? You're like, well, I'm on my 6th monster today. You're like, oh God, like, your cortisol levels are high. How's your stress level? I'm super stressed. I'm like, you need a good night's sleep for a lot of days.
Yes.
So that's what I wanted to say here, that rise and grind, there is a difference between rise and grind. When you wake up, you go through your morning ritual the best you can. But once you start your day of work or around the house, whatever it is, besides like your rest day maybe, but you are ready to go. But you have to prepare for that. The rise and grind was bastardized by do not get much sleep and just you're always on the go. Rise and grind to me is that after 7 to 9 hours of sleep, you wake up, you're fucking ready because you've taken care of your health, physically, mentally, and everything.
Case in point, for me, I'm that way. A couple nights ago, I didn't get much sleep the night before. I had trouble sleeping, and like the next day and the day after that crushed me. And then I finally went to bed at like 8 o'clock one night and slept 9 to 10 hours. And I got up and it was like night and day,
right?
How I felt. And I've been in jobs for years where I'll work all day, and then certain nights of the week and weekends I'm on call. And there can be days where I work 8 to 6, and then I'm back on call at 8, and then I got to deal with a fucking charter thing at 1 in the morning. But I got to get back up at 6 and start all over and do the same shit. And that really, I think, fucked me up for a lot of reasons. Just the lack of sleep was the big one, but that carries over into like, if you're already depleting the sleep you should be getting, not only is it stressful, but it's also like it's not healthy. And then so when you finally get a second to you get home from that day and you have a second, I want to take a nap. I'm exhausted, or but I have too much shit to do, and then it runs into later. And but now I've been more strict about I'm going to bed at this time. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
So, and for a long time when I worked from home, I got used to staying up late, working 12 hours, but it's from home. Now I have a lot more responsibility with this other job I have. The other thing it does too is the lack of sleep and not being able to disconnect from your job when you get home. Or even if you do disconnect, but you're a zombie by the time you get home, you start separating from your family. So I used to come home and just watch TV and just blankly stare at a fucking TV screen. And I'd shut myself off from whatever Teresa and Molly were doing because I just didn't want to deal with it. And it put a lot of pressure on my marriage because she's like, you come home and you just disconnect and don't talk to us, and then you go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I'm in survival mode at that point. It's not like I don't want to be with you guys, but I don't know how else to function. Now that sleep's starting to kick in, now I can come home and be like, aside from these last few days, I can come home and be like, hey, talk, walk the dogs,
right.
Interaction with the family, and it's like fucking night and day.
Have you ever spent time with someone that went over 24 hours with no sleep?
College.
So yeah. Same with me. I my best friend from college.
No
Yeah.
These guys used to mix caffeine pills in Mountain Dew. But no,
get you jacked up, man.
There was a time my best friend in college, it was finals week, and he was a double major, physics, mathematics. So he was under a lot of pressure. His girlfriend had just broken up with him like 2 weeks before.
Perfect.
Awesome timing there. And I think at the time I had hung out with him, he had been, I think it was on 36 hours without sleep. And just sitting there on the couch, his resting heart rate was 160.
Jesus.
And
Ouch.
and he was hallucinating.
Oh yeah.
This guy, he was hallucinating, and that was some interesting conversation. And I was just sitting there on the couch with him, and we were just listening to music, staring at his computer screen.
You were listening to music. He was hearing things.
but I mean, he drank about a pint of vodka just to get his heart rate below 100. Not good.
Sounds like a health nut.
And then, once finals were over, I mean, he slept for over a day.
Yeah.
Just straight. I felt so bad for him because for a 21-year-old, that's terrible.
But when you're that age, you can. Hell, I used to go out and I played soccer forever, college, high school, and club, and we do club tournaments. It'd be like 2 or 3 games on a Saturday and 2 or 3 games on a Sunday, and we'd go out on Saturday night and get drunk until 3 in the morning and get up at 7 and play 2 games like it was nothing. It never really affected me until I got home and I slept. But when you're that age, it's a little bit easier to do that. You
can recover, but you're still not your best. That's the thing, right? So what would have been like if you hadn't done that? You know what I mean? Scored more goals. Could have gone pro, man. Could have gone state. No, it's up here. His disconnecting scene is healing, resting, or not caring. That's another thing Nate put in this. It's, disconnecting too much. I think that's the con of doing this, right? If you're pushing yourself too hard, you're not taking care of your health physically or mentally or all that stuff. That is your desires to disconnect. Now, Ray made a joke here. I saw disconnecting as resting, healing, but my boss saw it as not caring. That's if you're doing that at work, where you get paid,
a little bit different.
There's a problem there. If you do it at home, also another problem, right?
Yes.
Nate, I asked you how things, how the last 2 weeks, and you're like, that's been tough. And I said, at work or home? And you said, oh, work. And I said, that's better than home.
Yes.
I mean, and it kind of caught you off guard too, if I'm not mistaken. You're like, yeah, you're right. I mean, it is, because people don't think about that when you're so when that whole hand in your face thing that we used to talk about, if you're like just you're so self-involved with
when your home life mirrors your work life.
your home life is sacrificed by your work life because that's all you are doing, or vice versa. Like you said, like girlfriend just broke up with your college roommate, or it was college roommate, or like best friend. So it's like you have like the home life can bleed into the work life and vice versa. So it's that balance there. But I do think that if you are when I saw you write this, is disconnecting seen as healing, resting, or not caring? I think that's a complex question because disconnecting from everything can be seen as you are trying to heal and rest in your mind, but it could be not caring from whether it's work, your home life, or your friend group, right?
Yep.
Your family. If you're just trying to disconnect, that is and you're viewing it as escaping. Now that could be you're not caring.
Yeah.
Now, if you're trying to disconnect from work to be a work-life balance the best you can, can be viewed as like Ray joked about, but from your work life, they're like, oh, like you're not available now when you're eating dinner, you can't respond to a Teams message, and it's like, no. And oddly enough, most people, not all the time, but the people that call you out on it, that you're not available when they're trying to get a hold of you when you're not at work, you try to get a hold of them, see what happens.
Oh, yeah.
They're typically not responsive. That's the irony there, is that it's usually that's that self-involvement, or that's the you are the center of the universe. When you need someone from a work standpoint, then they need you, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with home life too. Like it's like when you're getting people that like your family's asking you to do stuff, and you're like, I'm working. It's not that I don't want to respond. It's like I am working. I got busy. I will respond when I get a chance. You know what I mean? It's just, I think you need the balance all around. So the disconnecting part of it is, I think that you do need to have some sort of a disconnect, but in this modern day, you're never going to be fully disconnected from any arena of your life.
Yeah. I give a little bit of credit to one of my coworkers. On his off day, if there is a beer delivery, most of our beer deliveries, they don't leave us an invoice. So I have to snap a picture on my phone and text it to him. So that way he has a copy of that invoice if he needs it to know what the cost and price is of things. And I can send him, 4 invoices in one day. And when I go to leave work, and he has someone who has the, where it shows whether or not he read the message or not, like it's his off day. He won't look at that. He's like, he can tell it's a photo. I'm not calling him, blowing up. If I call him, then he's like, okay, something's going on, and he'll pick up the phone. But if I just sit there and text him an invoice, like he is not looking at his phone. He is spending time at home on his off day. And like, that's that kind of good disconnection where he takes that time. He's like, nope, not dealing with work. It's my off day. If the building doesn't burn down, we're good. If there's not a problem, we're good.
You know what most people probably do when they escape when they get home? Spend 2 hours on this shit.
Sure. Oh yeah. That's not much of an escape. Your quiet is not the same as escape.
Yeah. But it's like looking on social media or watching Netflix on your phone or watching videos, and you go down a rabbit hole like fucking TikTok, and 3 hours later, like, oh shit, I've been looking at TikTok and it's almost time to go to bed, and I haven't talked to my fucking kid. I don't do that anymore, but I used to. And it was, or I'd go out and smoke and have a fire, and 8 hours later, I'm like, shit, it's 2 a.m. I've been smoking, and like, I just ruined all that opportunity to spend with my family. And
that's the escape, not disconnected, in my opinion. That's kind of the point I was trying to make.
Yeah. I mean, and I've been
escape to nothingness.
Yeah, there was a time years ago where a family member had passed away, and there was a group text thread going on between some of the family, and like I wasn't involved in that whatsoever. I wasn't saying, I was reading it, I was seeing what was going on, but I wasn't saying anything because I was dealing with that loss in my own way.
Mm-hmm.
My way was not their way.
Mm-hmm.
And so other people thought that my silence meant I did not care about losing that person.
Right.
And it's like, no, you couldn't be further from the truth on that. It's just you and I deal with this in a different manner.
Sure.
I said, believe me, I'm at home dealing with that. I just don't show you and let you know about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the same as not caring.
There's no right way to do it, right? I mean, it's just how you need to process it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But and that situation is what I was thinking about when I wrote that initially this afternoon. Is like, no, I'm dealing with what I'm going through in my way. I don't need to let everyone else know how I'm dealing with it. I don't need to burden everyone else with that. Like, I'm taking care of my stuff because I think this stuff I have going on in these aspects of my life is more important than what this is. Yeah, if you want me to, yes, I can deal with this. We can talk about it. But right now, that is not my priority. I've got all these other things I'm dealing with. So don't take my silence or my disconnection as not caring. It's just me dealing with either that situation or other aspects of my life.
I think one thing too, it also depends on the job you have. Like for an example, having all these weird hours and Ray too, dealing with things out that you should be sleeping or having that time off. You're dealing with it, and so coming from jobs where they're like, well, you may need to be be available if people need you or whatever, blah blah blah, and then and a lot of it also depends on your boss. If he's micromanage you and bug the shitty all day, and you'll get more shit done than you should, then you're like, well, shit, I should probably go home and try to get it done. It's easy to fall into a bad habit of taking work home and thinking about, oh shit, what am I going to do tomorrow when he's micromanaging? Maybe I should try to get this done before I show up tomorrow or whatever. And and so now I finally have a job where I'm an 8 to 4 or whatever. Lately it's been 7 to 7, but I don't mind it because they also tell me like, you've been here for 12 hours. Hey, tomorrow leave leave at 3 or 2 instead of what you normally do. So there's a lot of give and take. So having somebody or company that you work for that's going to give you some grace and say, okay, you busted your ass all this week. Why don't you get out of here? And
I think that is a form of recognition of that there is the risk of burnout. We don't want to lose you. We value you. And that is a work thing. I think that's also a personal life thing too, when not the escape part, but it's like with this podcast, it's funny over the years. Well, I'll use it because I don't think they'd mind, but like when Shannon Chapman, right? Shannon, not the only one, but a good example. I feel like there was a time where like they were, like Shannon, our friend Shannon, the male, Shannon was stressing out, and he was trying to do so much, and he was stressing out about the next stage in their life, and then it was brought to me that it was like he was told by Shannon, like, no, like, go to Steve's for the podcast. Like, you need to get out of the house because sometimes that's the same thing from your work life that's going on, is that sometimes your significant other can say like, you need to go, like,
away.
Not that I'm tired of seeing you, might be, but I'm not, but it's like, go do something, and it's there's the balance there. Like, if you're always away, then you're going to have the opposite, the ill effect of it, right? Like if you're always at work, then your home life's going to suffer. If you're always at home, sometimes your work life, but sometimes you're always just not embracing the space, but you're embracing that closeness too tight. You're going to suffocate that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like Tommy Boy, right? You get excited. And then
boy.
Yeah, I knew you'd get that. Get all excited. And I squeeze it and I pet it and my God, I killed my pet. But that's it.
Naughty little pet. You're naughty.
I knew you were going to do that.
It was a dinner roll.
Set you up on that one. But I think that is something that sometimes you do need to have that, like someone to kind of like kick you out of this. Like when you are being this rising grind and I'm just going. You're like, that's great. Proud of you. You're not yourself right now. Like, figure it out. Like, get that break of some sort. You know what I mean?
Working from home for so long, I almost had the opposite effect where I would work my shifts and then the days off, I would kind of just sit around and not do much. And Teresa's like, why don't you go golf? Why don't you go out and go see Steve or Nate or whatever? And a lot of times, like, I don't want to. I just want to.
Whoa.
Not you, not
Nate.
You.
Okay, cool.
It doesn't matter who it is.
Oh, okay. Just you're talking
fair
or whatever. Sorry, I didn't mean to be specific and offend.
But it was Nate though.
I'm not not offended.
No, but like that's another whole different perspective when you work from home.
Right.
You get kind of like used to being a recluse. And it's crazy for me to see the transition I made over the last few months where now I'm going into an office and working. I actually have a little more, like I actually am going out more, or I'm going to go see somebody after work, or I'm going to do something with my wife.
We're going out tomorrow.
We're going out tomorrow. Yeah. If I was working from home, I'd be like, I don't know.
You know, see what I'm doing. Like, what are you doing?
Well,
still at home?
My phone.
I remember
TikTok's been calling me.
Yeah.
I remember back when Jess and I were both working from home all the time. You know, after the work day was over, you know, she's like, all right, you want to hang out and do something? Like, I've been in the house with you all day.
Whoa.
Not the same thing. But I was like,
in that tone?
Yeah.
Jess, if you need to talk. Yeah. No, that was a while back.
Yeah. It was over 3 years ago. You know, but then now it's a little bit of the opposite of that. Our work schedules are vastly different. And there's a lot of times where I am getting home when she needs to be going to bed. And
yeah, no, I have that with the close nights.
Yeah. And
podcast nights too.
Yeah. And you know, I'm sitting, you know, my decompression, I get home, I go downstairs, and, you know, like, I just want to watch a show, I want to watch a movie, something, and she'll want to come and just lay on the couch with me, which is fine. But then eventually I'm like, hey, you need to go to bed. She's like, well, I want to spend time with you. I haven't seen you all day.
Right.
And I was like, I get that. But right now you have a very different, that's abnormal work schedule.
Yeah.
It's not a permanent schedule. So just for the time being, you need to make sure that you're able to get your rest and to be able to do your job while you can.
Mm-hmm.
We can sacrifice this short period of time until you get something else. It doesn't mean I don't want to spend time.
Yeah, it's that short period of time. How long is that short?
Well, so when she took,
I'm just saying, like, if you say that one night, but then it's like, then all of a sudden it's like you're doing it with the best intentions, but then all of a sudden weeks, months go by and you haven't spent that time together. That's all I'm saying. Like, you're right. Like, get your rest, but let's plan something, right? So, there is the effort on the other side of it.
Yeah. So I think that's actually one of the good things about my schedule at the Tinderbox changing over the last few months.
Friday nights.
Yeah. I no longer have to be there on Friday nights, so I can do my normal day job and then go home. And then we have the rest of Friday afternoon and evening to spend time together. And that is now our steak and wine night because of her work schedule. Like,
same
now
thing with doing the podcast every other Wednesday.
Yeah.
You know, it's another night that I can enjoy time with Kristen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Just a quick one from Kristen, because she is watching. I think it's more technology than working from home. That's my opinion, what we were talking about. And I just want to say she's right. However, technology has allowed people to work from home, right? So that is, I think it goes hand in hand. The technology, it's so interesting how that has changed.
Yeah. From
the disconnect, the embrace the space, because even like a job like mine, where COVID time was a great example of that, and we've talked about that, is that all of a sudden it's like when we put stuff out there, I was getting text messages from customers, I was getting messages on my personal social media accounts, Instagram, Facebook, the Tinderbox page. So it's like I would be at home and I'm like, it was a blessing because people were able to reach me on all these different avenues. But then at the same time, it's like, you can't disconnect. And if I open up Facebook, all of a sudden I get alerts from Tinderbox and Bourbon and BS podcast and, you know, all that stuff because I have the multiple accounts. And so it's like, can't even disconnect properly that way in the bad way and at the same time. And so it has, and Kristen, and I don't know about you, Sean, working now, not from home, but there was a time where you had a work cell phone in this transition and a personal cell phone, and you could like leave the work cell phone and only certain people had your personal number. When I was in the moving industry and I was running a satellite office, I literally was like, so because we had Nextels, right?
Yeah.
Missed that. Not for that, but yeah, the Nextels were great because when I would leave, and it was just I was the manager of the branch, and I had an assistant manager, and a lot of the frontline workers just they trusted me, and so they would reach me on my Nextel all the time. So I had a personal phone, and I would leave that Nextel off, and I told all the crews, I said, when I'm not available, and the guy's name was Tim, and this empowered him so much. I said, he has my number, so you talk to him, and if he doesn't have the answer, he'll call me. I'd pick up when Tim, so I was still tied in, but it just phased out.
You weren't the first line.
I phased it out because he started figuring things out when he didn't know. He didn't do things off the cuff like against the company. Like he's like, oh, I'll just do it and I'll ask for forgiveness later. It got to the point where he's like, okay. After a month or two, it was kind of like a closing shift would go by, and now all of a sudden I was getting worried, and I would like get a hold of him and be like, I haven't heard from you. Everything all right? He's like, yeah, everything's good. I was like, okay. It's like, now it's like, oh, now you don't need me. Like, fuck. And then he got promoted. And
I'm so kind of dealt a little bit with last year at work with the transition that we had of directors that I report to. You know, my first director at my current job, you know, there were certain things that he wanted to be responsible for. So like, for example, if on one of our wine flights, one of the wines sold out and we needed a replacement, like there were two of us that would go to the shelves and find what we felt was an appropriate replacement for that product. And then the next day, our boss comes in and sees that product up there on the flight and goes, why is that up there? Like, well, we ran out of that, so we picked. And then he would just tear us to shreds about picking that product. Like, why are you pouring that? Why'd you pick that? Like, no, you should have picked something else. And it got us to the point where we're like, well, fine, we're not going to pick anything. We're going to sit there and send you a message every time we run out of something and you're not here. We're going to send you a text like, all right, we ran out of this. What do you want to pour? Yeah. So now you're responsible.
Now you can't disconnect.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
And then with
that change.
Yeah. And then with my current boss.
No, go ahead.
With my current boss, when she took over, my coworker and I doing the same thing. Like, we're now reaching out to her saying, hey, we ran out of this. What do you want to put as its replacement? And eventually she'd get back to us and go, all right, why don't you go do this? Or how many bottles of this do we have on the shelf? Pour that. And then finally she came in one day and she's like, look, you guys know what's on the shelves. You guys know enough about the stuff to know what to pick and what not to pick. If I'm not here and something runs out, just pick something. I don't care. I trust you guys to actually do it. And we're like, oh shit. Like, we can actually make that decision now.
Boss like the manager.
Yeah. Well, and there's other aspects of it too at work where they're like, no, just do it. Just do it. You don't have to involve me. You don't necessarily need my input. Don't do anything crazy, but just do what needs to be done. Like, I trust you guys enough to actually do that. And we're like, okay, you got to give us the time to get used to that because it's not what we're used to.
Yeah.
I had a boss that had this on the taped up to the back of the monitor.
Why do you?
What do you think it means?
Why do you?
What do you think would?
So for those listening on audio, WDYTWSDAI. I think I got it right.
We should do. Is that right or not?
You're getting there. You're in the ballpark.
Should do-
So based on what you were just talking about, Nate,
What do you think we should do?
what do you think we should do if you're coming to them with a problem? You're empowering an employee.
Well, that makes me think
You got everything but the AI, not artificial intelligence.
That makes me think of those managers that you come to them with an issue and they never want to give you a problem. They always throw it back at you. Because I used to have a higher up that hated if I came to them with a problem.
You're in the ballpark.
They were like, no, don't come to me with a problem. Come to me with an idea.
So,
what do you think we should do?
As an idea?
As an idea.
About it.
What do you think we should do about it? All right.
It was something that stuck with me, and I enjoyed it because once you knew too, right? You'd still walk into the office with said problem, or you text them. This is before we were texting a lot, right? So like, if I can imagine that boss would have literally just texted that back, and you'd be like, "Fuck."
Well,
because it's literally you walk in there like, yeah, so this is happening, like, or like to your point, like like, hey, we ran out of this, and it's like, okay, what do you think we should do about it?
That's such a great learning tool,
right?
Well,
so annoying when you're younger. Like I was in my 20s.
Yes, it is annoying.
And you're just like, well, that's why I'm coming to you, and you're like,
yeah,
okay. Now I'm going to tell you as the boss that it's like, okay, that's a great idea. Wrong.
That's but thank you for coming with
this
solution.
Is why
Thanks
this is why this is that's a great idea. This is like, it's going to cost too much. This is, we should promote the things that we're trying to sell or whatever it might be. But that tool was something that, like, when you were talking right now, like you were discussing that, it was like, this reminded me of that. Is like, what do you think we should do about it? That is such a, like you said, a learning tool. This is something that is, I think, lost a lot of times with a superior to an inferior in a business aspect, especially.
Well, and like I said, that's why we had stopped asking that person the issue, because we were tired of always being told we were wrong or that we did something bad. And then the other person's like, no, that's fine. Like it was a drastic shift in leadership, and it took some time for the staff to adapt to that change.
This is that I put on, and we're gonna go to this here in more detail for the audio people, but what do you think we should do about it? It is a way, and this can be used by someone that likes to micromanage a little bit, or also go more treetop level and hopefully let their people learn. But it's a dialogue tool where you can have that, where, what do you think we should do about it? Now you teach your employee or whoever it might be, a friend,
next time that
a friend like comes to you with a problem, and you're like, okay, so what do you want to do about it? And sometimes they'll come up, employee, friend, whatever, they'll come up with it, and you're like, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, that's what just starting.
And now even if you are a micromanager, you just micromanage the person, but you put them into, like they said, their new, like your way of thinking almost.
That's my direct boss. When we trained in California, and he's out there, and then we all came here and worked in an office at NetJets, and it got to the point where I was asking questions. I'm like, how do we do this? Blah, blah, blah. Then it got to the point where I'd ask him a question. He would wait. And then I would actually figure it out on my own.
Nate. Yeah.
I'd figure it out on my own. And now my guys and so now I'm to the point now where the guys that work with me, they'll come to me with the same kind of situation. And I'll be like, okay, well, let's look at how and I think what happens a lot, people might, like myself, or the guys, when you're learning something new, you get this freaking tunnel vision on that one thing. And sometimes I try to get them to step back and look at a more of a macro perspective. What's the big picture?
Critical think.
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about.
So locked in with such you're like, you span out. Yeah. Look at the whole thing. And that's what I do when I coach. And the same thing can be applied to other people. And I do it with my kid,
Yeah.
So.
Nate, I know you're responding to Ray. You said you always feel like it's cop out, and a lot of employees did.
That's how I felt like at my old career.
I know. And I had previous employees from my last career, not recently, but it was after the fact, within a couple of years, that not reconnected, but like we were Facebook friends or whatever. And after I was let go from my position, it was ironic almost that I was let go by the people that I use that tool to empower employees.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like to a point where I knew, because I had a personal cell phone, I had a Nextel and all that stuff. And I would go to lunch. My phone's ringing. It got to a point, certain people especially, I would wait literally 2 minutes to call them back. Never mind, I got it. I found it.
I remember you telling about
Yeah,
that.
because it got to the point that if all you're doing is giving answers, then they just lean on you. They stop thinking.
Yep.
There's not even critical thinking.
Nope.
It's like, I already know.
Crutch.
But it's like simple questions like, hey, where do I find this? You're like, you find it here. Okay, thanks. And then you do it again. And all of a sudden, like, it got to the point where I knew the person. They've been there for a long time, one in particular. And I'm like, I'd call them back 2 minutes later. They didn't even leave a voicemail. It's like, I had to call them back. And they're like, never mind, I found it. And I think at the time, they were like, he's unavailable. He's disconnected from work, right? When in fact, later, they were like, no, you actually taught me a lot. I'm like, well, that's great. I don't have a job there anymore. You know what I mean?
Now,
one of those things.
Based on like what Nate said earlier, and I had the same problem from previous jobs where you have a micromanager and they feel like they have like this power over you. And even if you come up with a correct solution, I've had a CEO like poo-poo it and then come up black later and offer the same answer, but maybe said a different way. And I'm like, motherfucker, I just told you that.
Yeah.
That's what we should have done. But it's so and then
there's different sides
so
where
if you
ego
get to
gets
that
involved,
point,
right?
It's like, I'm gonna fucking quit asking because I'll try to figure it out on my own. Or if you do that, well, why did you think that? Why did you do it that way? This is why. Well, we should do it this way. And I'm like, no, we shouldn't.
Leaders want their people to grow so they don't have to do everything.
But if you're in a power
Good
grip,
leaders,
they never
excuse
did
me.
it. Yep.
They also feel less valuable. Nate, if we feel like scaling back, why don't we? Is it because we feel like we're letting others down, or are we quitting? This is you.
Yeah. I think when we fill our days with so much stuff, when we're doing a lot and we feel like others rely on us, if we get to that point, we're like, you know what, I think I'm doing too much and it's detrimental to myself or my home life or whatever it is. And we feel like we need to do less in order to improve ourselves. Other people view that as being lazy, or it's like, well, if you're not going to do it, that means I need to find someone else who is going to do it. Like, it almost makes, now that person's making you feel like a burden.
Yeah.
And that's what,
The wind is not blowing to that door.
but
Yeah.
If we sit there and we're like, hey, I think I'm doing a little bit too much. I'm worn down. I'm doing so much. I'm having a tough time actually enjoying why I got into this or why I took this job or, doing what I'm doing. Like, I need to get back to the point where I actually enjoy doing that. I need some stuff off my plate. It's like, well, great. Now I've got a burden. We feel it, or we're told sometimes, whether we feel it on ourselves or other people tell us, we feel like now we're letting other people down because now someone else has to do the work. And it's like,
That's because you're a good egg.
Well, I think too, a good thing to handle this would be to communicate with your team and say, listen, I really want to scale back a little bit. I want you guys to take more responsibility. But if it gets to a point where you need help, I'm always available, but I also need to have a work-life balance and be able to, and you can even tell the people that work for you, like, hey, you guys are capable of doing this. And, maybe I'm not in the grind with you checking shit every day, but I got other things I'm doing. So if it's to the point where I'm in meetings all day long and I'm not connected and I'm like, man, I got to get the fuck out of here, and be like, well, you didn't even help. It's like, no, it's just, but you let them know, like, this is what I want to do. And this is why I want to do it. And this is going to give you guys more responsibility. And if you have a problem with that, you come and talk to me. But if you just don't tell anybody and start to do it, then you're going to have those questions like,
Communicate, right?
yeah, why are they pissed now? It's like, no, fucking just talk to them. Let them know what your plan is. And that way it's not one of those, hey, why the hell is Nate leaving so early? It's, if you tell them that, they're going to be like, okay, I get it. And if they have a problem with it, it's up to them to say something.
I had
And that's their space to do it.
when I was in charge of a sales team that had to be on the phones at like 8:00 or whatever, right? They'd be at their desk ready to take calls. That's when the phones turned on. Same career. I was a sales and marketing manager at the time, and I had one guy that had been there a long time before I got in that department. I'd been with the company longer, and I had him in, and he was having these issues of being at the desk ready to go at 8:00. And his response as the employee or my, direct report was, well, you don't get here at 8:00. And I was like, I don't have my phones ringing. Like I don't need to be here. Like on certain days that I wasn't at my desk at that time, I'd come in like 8:30 or 9:00 because I'd be there, whatever it was. I'm like, that's not my job. That's your job.
That's what we hired you for.
Well, it's like, yeah, if I had to be at my desk at that time, like I trust you, you know what you're doing. So it's one of those things like that. I'm not in your position. I'm in a different position. It was a struggle because I remember that employee because he had been there a long time. He was great at what he did. He had that kind of, when I said that to him, it was the opposite, where he thought that like you said, Nate, like I'm being lazy. I don't have to be there when you have to be there. There are bosses that are there before everyone gets there, before everyone and there after everyone leaves. Not good work-life balance, right? But it was one of those things. I'm like, this morning I didn't need to be here at 7:30 like you did because you had to be there to set up everything, get your coffee and everything like that, to be at your desk at 8:00. I'm not an inside salesperson. It was just it was educating to him, and maybe someday he got it, but at the same time, at that time, I know he didn't get it, and maybe it wasn't the best approach. But I was saying, it's like, I don't need to be here. Why would you? Like, I'm available because I did have a cell phone, in the Nextel, but I'm like, you don't need me to be here to sit next to you and be like, 8:00, have a great day.
Yeah.
Every day. And there are some bosses like that. Maybe they're better than that. I don't know.
I used to have a boss that when he announced that he was going to be retiring, the people above him wanted him to interview and find his replacement. And so he was conducting interviews, and for the first several months, bunch of candidates interviewed, offered them the position, and then they just didn't want to take it. And the company looked at what was being asked in the interview. Like, there was a list of questions and qualifications and stuff like that. And come to find out, one of the big issues was that person was saying, look, I spend 75 to 80 hours a week doing my job. And the people that they were interviewing to be his successor were like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to work 75 hours a week. Like,
you shouldn't unless you need to during tough times.
No, I don't think this job requires that. And so, that person might not get the offer, or if someone was offered the position, like, oh wait, I have to work that many hours. Nope, not doing it. I'll just stay where
you need to work those many hours when
else.
It's needed, right?
Yeah.
And if it is needed, there are times where, like, say the budget's tight and you are into it, and if you're not the owner, then you shouldn't do that, right? But that was the same thing when I was the satellite manager. That was one of the things that I told that assistant manager. I said, this job is like, at most, unless circumstances arise, this is at most 50-hour-a-week position. And we staggered because we had to dispatch the trucks that were out. Sometimes it goes longer, sometimes whatever. But like, you coming here way early and you staying way late to do the workload that I have asked of you, it's not impressive. It's actually the opposite. That means that we either have overloaded you, or it's something that you are not able to do the job, right? So I'm not going to be impressed that you are working 60, 70 hours a week, because of that position didn't require it, except for the times that it was like peak hours and like we're all just overloaded. Right?
Whatever
it's like
you're
Christmas
busy,
time,
whatever you're
shop,
busy.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. Whatever you're
but
busy
that's
season.
expected.
Yeah.
And then it's like at the same time, man, maybe I was a dick as a boss. I also wasn't like, like consoling you on the long hours. I'm like, yeah, this is the job. Like, this is it. But when you're just doing it to do it, and you leave after I leave, and you get here before I get here, and it's like, what were you doing?
Yeah.
I'm like,
Just
it's
trying
not
to-
impressive.
yeah.
Like, don't play the fucking game with me.
I actually worked 14 hours on Friday, which I'm used to working long shifts. But my thing is, if I'm dealing with something and it's a shit show, I'm not leaving until I can pass it off where everyone will know what's going on. But if it's in the middle of like things need to be made sure things are done that I've taken responsibility for, that's what I did. And I couldn't leave it the way it was because it would just create more chaos and confusion. So, and it's one of those things too, because if you look at it like, well, there's going to be days you can work 14 hours. That's kind of in like projecting and anticipating that it's going to happen every day. It doesn't, but it's almost like a natural thing that there are days that you will, but it's not like you're like, oh God, man, you've been around 14 hours today or whatever. It's like, it just happens organically.
Right.
You know, it's not something where you try to project and worry about, oh God, how long am I going to work today? It's like a lot of times you can leave when you want. There's just certain days you got to stick around and make sure shit's done. And that's just part of, as a team, you're helping your teammates out to make sure shit's taken care of before you leave, so they're not dealing with it.
If you say that and then you expect it, and it's 80 hours a week all the time, then you sold them false promises, and
Sure.
you shouldn't be surprised if they leave, or they're miserable, or they hate you, or they hate their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the example I was thinking of, just not an example of scaling back necessarily. So late last year, the owner of Tinderbox, Brian, he had asked me if I would give up my Friday nights.
Right.
For whatever reason, we don't need to get into that, but just, hey, slower time of the year, don't need 3 people here this night. I can stay a couple hours later. Would you mind? Not working that shift.
Do you need the hours? Is this like for payroll?
And for me, I was like, all right, that's fine. Like, I'll do what I can if it helps the business, if it helps you out. Like, if you want to take that on, fine. I'll give that up. I think it would have been a very different conversation had I just come in and be like, hey, I no longer want to work this day. I don't want to work this shift anymore. Because now I am putting the burden of those hours on someone else on the team.
Oh, for sure.
And so that's something that I would think, like, I work at Tinderbox on Sundays. If all of a sudden I felt like I was burned out and it's like, hey, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I'm done. Like,
don't do that. Don't, unless you really need to.
See there, but that's the thing. That right there, like I'm saying, if I was burned out and I feel like I was sacrificing too much of home life.
No, absolutely. I mean, if you needed to, I'm kidding, right? Like,
but
I mean, sort of, but I'm kidding.
But no, that's the thing. Like,
Sean, do you want to work Sundays?
Sure.
But that's the thing. Like, if all of a sudden I was like, I just, I'm wearing myself too thin. I'm wearing myself out. I can't do this anymore.
And that's fair.
Like, I can't do this. But like, there would be a part of me that would be like, I would feel guilty because now I'm passing that burden on to someone else. Like, someone else has to pick that up.
Yeah, you have a full-time job. It's the same but different. I mean, if you really look at it, and it's like, if your value of time is not worth what you're getting paid, as much as you don't want to let down because you're a loyal person and you're a good egg, like I said. But at the same time, it's like, what's the breaking point? Now all of a sudden it's like, I'm coming in on and take you out of it. Like, you have to work a certain night shift or whatever, right? Just to make ends meet. And then you don't have to make ends meet and you're burning yourself out and you're like, I don't need this anymore. My value of time is spent elsewhere. You got to be honest about it, right? I mean, it's like, that's all part of it. You have to do that for yourself and the people that are important to you. I mean, you can't just keep doing something that brings up your call it the last comment from when you gave the topic tonight. Are we stuck in a routine because we're afraid of change? Or I'll add to it and put it in here, but are we afraid of upsetting people that we respect?
For me, it's that latter part.
So you don't want to work Sundays. It's fine.
Well, so the thing is,
Brian on the phone here.
My wife works Sundays, so if I didn't work Sundays, I'd be at home.
He's asleep.
My wife works Sundays. My mother-in-law works Sundays, so if I didn't work Sundays, I'd still be at the house by myself.
It's probably better you're at the shop. Might as well. You smoke a few cigars, you hang out, you help some customers. Like,
Yeah.
There was a time that even on your off days, you would go into shops anyway.
So, well, that was a problem that I ran into
Wow.
when I was a cigar rep.
Right. I remember. Yeah.
So for anyone listening that doesn't know, over a decade ago, when I was a cigar rep, most of my week, I'd leave my apartment at 8 in the morning. And this is when I was, Jess and I were already married. I'd leave my apartment Monday morning at 8 o'clock. I would get home Friday night. And then Saturday, Jess is like, hey, what do you want to do? I'm like, let's go hang out at Tinderbox.
So glad you changed.
And
so is she.
and, well, it wasn't by choice. But no, it's
her
like
choice.
So it wasn't her choice either.
Oh,
so,
that job thing.
Yeah. So, so then we go to the Tinderbox and I'm just hanging out there smoking cigars. She's walking around the mall doing all that kind of stuff. And, if a customer came in asking questions about the brand that I represented, one of the staff members that was there was like, oh, well, I just happen to have the rep there. So like, even on my off day, I was going somewhere that was related to work.
You had a benefit.
Part of it was because the social aspect of a cigar shop. Part of it also was I was in my first year at the company. Like I wanted to do everything I could to do my job and excel and be the best that I absolutely could be with what I was given. And then eventually it was like, hey, you know what? I don't see you at all Monday through Friday. Can we not spend Saturday or Sunday at work? Like,
yeah, it makes sense.
And so that was like, oh, okay. Yeah, mine almost did. Still got the scar. No.
Shank.
But no, it was one of those where like the ambition kind of took over a little bit. And I needed someone else who had a different perspective to kind of reel me back a little bit. Like, hey, I get that you're at work. Like we made strides like, okay, we'll scale this back. What can we do to where we don't feel like there's this disconnect? And it's like, okay, cool. Let me know when you get to your hotel room at the end of each night. We can talk.
Yeah.
And, that helped because I didn't realize this, but when I took that job, Jess was like, we're going to give it 6 months. And if things aren't better in 6 months, then we're going to talk about you find another job. If our relationship,
that's great communication. That's great communication.
She didn't tell me that until later.
Maybe better communication if it was earlier, but yeah.
But then when it was brought up, it made me realize, okay, maybe I am spending too much time focusing on my job when I'm not supposed to be at my job.
Right. Sean, what do you think? Ray makes a great point on this. That's exactly why you're stuck in a routine, because you're afraid of change, is I assume of what he meant.
Yeah, for me, it's the routine and being afraid of change really doesn't. I'm not. It's usually for me when I'm afraid of change is when they come in and like revamp shit. I've been with companies where like, well, there's a chance that this company could be bought by another thing, or we're going to shift the switches or switch the shifts around.
Shift the shifts.
Yeah, and so give other people a chance to maybe work days instead of nights or whatever. Those are the kind of things that really like we get people worried about change. For me, in terms of you need a second routine because you're afraid of change. I guess you're kind of, if you're in the same, if you have a shift that you work all the time and it's the same shit every day, it really isn't, to me, there's nothing to be afraid of. But if it's when things switch up where, where things can affect taking you out of that routine, I guess that's the big thing. When you get taken out of a routine, that's where I think for me and people I used to work with, this one girl I used to work with, my God, if they moved her fucking hours by a half hour, she would start losing her shit. Mm-hmm. Like certain people just cannot embrace that. And I tell you what, I mentioned this before, but I was let go from my previous job. And when I was very blessed enough to get a job a lot quicker, but it was like, okay, now I'm not working from home anymore. I've been doing it for 10 years. Now I'm going to have to go to an office every day. that fucked me up mentally for like a good week.
Mm.
And my wife was like, and she was correct, and she was right. She was like, I guarantee you, once you get the ball rolling with this and you start making these changes and you start working, there's going to be a different outlook on how you see this. You're no longer going to be afraid of it. Sure shit.
It's kind of smart, man.
Yeah. And so those kind of changes you may fear because it's the unknown. And I think a lot of that is the unknown. That's why people fear change. And I think that a lot of times people project and assume it's going to be this way. Or, well, we're changing this. This is going to just screw everything up. We're going to have to work more hours, blah, blah, blah. And then how many times do you project and it's not even close to what you think it'll be?
Yeah.
And it's actually benefits. And you're like, why did I spend that much time dwelling over it and worrying about it instead of just embracing it? Sometimes you have to embrace the suck, and sometimes the suck is good.
Yeah. You know, I look at this the way that Nate, you worded this. Are we stuck in the routine because we're afraid of change? 100%. Yeah, absolutely. When you phrase it like that, are we stuck in the routine because we're afraid of change?
Mm-hmm.
I think routine has value when it's working for you.
It's your comfort zone.
Not just that. I think sometimes that when you push yourself out of your comfort zone to that point,
yeah,
you are trying to make a new routine.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, the routines are good for you because whatever change you made to get into that, it's actually a positive in one or multiple aspects of your life. So the way you phrase this, are we stuck in the routine because we're afraid of change? Probably when it's a negative. When it's a positive, sometimes it takes so much discipline to stay in that routine that's working for you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not afraid of change, you're just tired. You're tired of pushing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to your original point of the rise and grind mentality. Sometimes it's working for you. And if you're firing all cylinders and every aspect of your life is firing all cylinders, that should be enough to motivate you. Mm-hmm. So sometimes I don't want to say, when you say stuck in routine, I don't want to put a negative connotation on routine, because I think that there are routines that are good for you.
Sure.
Now, if you are more obsessed with routine versus the results, or versus the that benefits one aspect of your life but not others, now you're deciding what that routine is benefiting, what is the priority in your life, right? So you're sacrificing other aspects of your life for the said routine, then you have new issues. And then you get back to this question.
Yeah.
Right? You're sacrificing those things and you're saying, well, but my work life is really good. My wake up schedule, my diet, my everything is really good. Yeah. But like it sacrifices other aspects of your life.
Yeah.
It's a routine.
There's possible positive change elsewhere, but now you're afraid of change in the routines that the routine that is working for you.
It's a we view it as it's a routine if it's good, it's a rut if it's bad.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and I think that what I was going to say about that is a lot of times if you're in a routine where it is bad and you want to get out or whatever, and I guess it's kind of the opposite. Like if it's a rut and if it's bad, a lot of times people just grin and bear it and just deal with it. And
you are afraid of the change. Yeah.
And then that part of that change that you're afraid of is telling someone about it.
Yeah.
Like, go to your boss and say, listen, dude, I am killing myself on this shift. Is there any way we can work something out? And then by doing that, it could turn into a positive change. If the boss is a complete dick and says, nope, you're stuck here, then you got to question, okay, is it worth working here? Maybe I should start looking elsewhere.
Yeah, or is there a timeline that there is a change, right? I'm a company guy. I'm going to do this, but like, is there like when is there an out? And they're like, oh yeah, no, absolutely. And then 6 months, like we're going to try to work on it, and then you get in that whole problem, right?
Or is
6
there
months come, and they're like, yeah, no, another 6 months, and you're like, all right, you're just fucking with me right now.
Yeah, like is there a way to move up? Is there an advancement in the future? Like if you sit there, and that's what happened in my old career, is I had come to a point where I realized like they were never going to let me move up from what I was doing. And so I made a lateral move to another department. So that way it's like, all right, I can't move anywhere from where I'm at. If I move to another department, maybe then if I do well at that, that can then provide a trajectory to move upward and do something else. And I think some people will make that change because, they realize they can't go anywhere. But if they keep making lateral moves and they're never moving up, that's what makes that person then be like, I want to do more than what I'm doing. I'm not going to get that opportunity here. I'm going to go somewhere else. And now they have to start all over. But because they're starting something new, there's that, revitalized passion. There's a little bit more fire because, all right, now I'm doing something new. But if it gets back to the same routine where, cool, I'm really good at what I do, but I can't move up from what I do because they're afraid of losing me at what I do, then you just keep going through the same cycle all
Newness
over again.
wears off.
And I think it also goes back to what we discussed earlier. What do you think we should do about it? Come up with a solution. If you see something where like, I don't think I'm at my best potential, but if I did this or tried this or we implemented this, you can go to your supervisor or whatever and say, this is what I'm dealing with, but I may have a solution. So at least it lets them know it doesn't look like you're quitting necessarily. It's more of a, I'm struggling, but I want to fix it.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Absolutely. All right, here we go. Closing remarks. Embrace the space. I like the rhyme there.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that from my stepfather.
It's catchy. It gets people engaged, right?
He always did his sermons where all the main bullet points were alliterated. Starting with the same sound or same letter. Like that was part of his shtick. That was part of his shtick. Is he always did that because it always made it easier for people to remember.
Yeah, no, that's catchy.
Yeah.
Lose yourself
in music.
Closing remarks here. Embrace space. We covered a lot here.
I think the important, we all, those of us that aren't retired,
right.
yeah, we all spend a lot of time working our asses off because, we want to have the things, we want to have a lifestyle, we want to be able to do the things we want to do. And so we just sit there and we work, we grind, we do all this stuff. We just feel it's like, you spend 9 hours a day doing your job, but then it's like, cool, now I got to take kids soccer practice. Now I got to go to a game. Then I got to go home. And, over time, we just spend so much time doing things for other people. Sometimes we sacrifice time for ourselves. And so then when we actually do take that time to be like, I need a day, I need a night, I need some time, some hours to just do what I want to do, whatever it is, whether it's taking a nap, playing video games, watching a movie, doom scrolling on your cell phone, whatever it is. Like we're just so bogged down by everything else we're filling our time of the day with. We just want to do something we want to do because we always feel like we're doing something for other people. And
that is not always reciprocated.
It's not. And so, when we sit there and like, all right, I need some time. I don't necessarily think about things the same way other people do. I want to enjoy my time to myself. Yeah, other people don't get it. Like, I'm dealing with all this shit at work, and then I go home and I got to deal with all this shit at home. Like, I don't want to deal with any more shit. So if someone else brings me more shit, I don't want to do it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to think about it. I got too much else going on. So where does that priority, stack in the lineup? The lowest priority is going to get cut off.
Yeah.
I think what we have to realize is sometimes it's good to just cut that off.
Sure.
Like if hobbies, for example, should be an escape. It shouldn't feel necessarily like work. Sometimes they do.
Fair point.
But
We've talked about that recently.
but we should be doing things every day because we want to do them, not because we feel like we have to do them.
100%.
Like, you know, I go to work because I like what I do and it provides a paycheck for my household. I don't want to necessarily deal with all the bullshit associated with it. Or, you know, I go to work, I do my job, and then I come home. If my spouse at home makes home life miserable, I'm going to sit there and what can I do to spend more time at work?
It's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's terrible. But there are people that are in that routine, like, hey, I'm going to be a couple hours late at work. Like, why? Well, because something came up. I got to be at work. But then as soon as you come home, it's like, oh my gosh, just stop. I've dealt with my own
a slippery slope that you don't want to go down.
Yeah, I've dealt with my shit for the last 10 hours. I know you got your shit.
Not embracing your space, right?
Yeah. But I think we all benefit to also recognize that in other people. Like, sure. Other people, they work themselves to the bone doing their work life, their home life, but then we expect like just, everything else from them on something else. It's like, just can you give me a minute? Can you give me some time?
You feel pulled in all different directions. You feel like you always have to be on.
Well, you're being quartered.
No one's capable of that. Sean, what do you think? Closing remarks here.
Yeah. I think for me in terms of like how I look at this in terms of when you're to the point where you're just fried or, burning candle at both ends, is I used to have a habit of as soon as I got off work, I would either, now when I come home or mostly when I was working from home, I would jump right into like walking the dogs, feeding the cats, blah, blah, blah. I never got that time to just decompress from the day, even if it's 20 minutes. And I think a lot of people are still in kind of that work mode mindset where I got to do this, I got to do this. And I've communicated with Teresa, and Teresa feels the same way because she does it with her. She's like, when you get done from your job and you finally get home, it's like, just again, it's about communicating with, like, you're coming home to your spouse and you're saying, listen, I just need 20 minutes. Let me veg out, whatever, let me just escape for a second for 20 minutes or take a nap or do something to help myself get out of that rut and reset. I think doing any of these things requires thought ahead of time and communication. I think if you come home and don't even know what the hell you want to do, it's like start thinking about, when you do find a little bit of time maybe before you go to bed or whatever, it's like, okay, what do I really want to do when I get home? What can I do to make myself disconnect from my job and kind of reset and be more in family mode? And it doesn't have to be 2-hour long thing. It's just a matter of just, establishing that communication, almost set a little bit of a goal to find out what you really want to do when you do have that time to disconnect. I think that's a big thing. And I think I was guilty for a long time where, like, soon as I get home, okay, can you walk the dogs, can you do this? And now I'm like, okay, just give me like 20 minutes to like just lay down and close my eyes or lay down or just give me 20 seconds to be by myself.
Yeah.
And I think that by communicating and having a plan, and even in the 20 minutes you take that break, it allows you at least kind of like disconnect and allows you, okay, when I get done with this little break, all right, what needs to be done? What can I do to either help out or maybe take my wife out for a beer or whatever?
Come on, man.
Jesus, dude.
I don't know if Mike's picked that
I
up.
hope not. But yeah, that's kind of where I leave it at that. So
I think my biggest thing about the embrace your space is to figure out what your space is, right? Because hearing you guys, when all of us talk about it tonight and the work, the home life.
I smell
it. All right.
Jesus.
There are times when you feel like the grind is always going to be pushing on you, and that's what's happening right now, whether you're at home, whether you're at work. you do feel that the weight on your shoulders is getting very heavy with everyday life. It's really difficult to do sometimes, especially when you're in that moment. But I will say this is that sometimes your space is not just you. Sometimes it is. I think sometimes you flirt more with the escape versus embracing the space. In your words, Nate, I think that when work is wearing you down, I think if you are single and you live by yourself, then yeah, that's embrace that moment of quiet, right? If you have a family or people that are important to you, sometimes getting together with friends or going out is that space that you're looking for, right? Coming home to your spouse, coming home to your significant other, coming home to your kids, coming home to your dog or cat, not cat as much, but mostly dogs. They're excited to see you because that's it, man. We can learn a lot from that.
Yep. Whether you want to embrace them or not, they're going to embrace you.
If you are seeking solitude too much, then I think that's because everything that is your day to day either is not right for you, or I would say more of the time for most people, it's because you do feel bogged down and you're not getting enough sleep, like we talked about. You're not taking care of yourself, and so you just need. I just need to be alone for a moment. I just need a moment to decompress. You have those days, but if those days add up to the majority of your days, then I do believe that you are either in the wrong situation in life, which is that's another topic, right? Or you have, again, more times than not, I feel like you are getting to the point where you're taking for granted the good things in your life. Not calling anyone out, but the fact that you can come home to hopefully, if you have a good situation, you have a good job, but it is wearing you down because it's very stressful. You have a good home life, but it's wearing you down because you get home and you have all these chores, or the first thing you walk home, you're like, what do I got to do tonight? It's my one free night or my one day off, but I got to do all this stuff. It is a mindset. I think a lot of times, again, more times than not, it's a mindset that you have that grass is greener type mentality that if I didn't have all these chores, I could just sit there and do nothing. Well, here's your alternative. I'm going to give you all the time, 24 hours a day. You have no one in your life. You have no job, and you can do all the nothing you want. How's it sound? To some people, it might sound very good. That's going to be very short-lived. I know a lot of people that retire from work. They are bored out of their minds. There are a lot of people that are retired from work that they now travel and they spend time with their family, and they are so happy. That's the difference. It is embracing not just the space, but figuring out what your space is. And I feel like embracing your space is, one, figure out what your happy place is. Not to quote Happy Gilmore, but finding your happy place so that when you do come home, you're happy. You wake up, hopefully you're kind of excited. Every job is going to have the tough days. Every home life is going to have the tough days. And every moment of solitude, it feels good until it doesn't. And I do feel like it is all about balance, so that when you figure out what your happy place or your happy space is, in your words, Nate, embrace your space, embrace that. It is not always just a moment of solitude. Sometimes it is, but most of the time it's going to be, I'm embracing my space that I have created that makes me happy, so that when I come home, hopefully you're walking into a comfortable retreat of just peace. And if you can find that in your work life, not going to be all the time, then you're definitely winning. But if you can find that in your home life, whether you're by yourself with a significant other, or you have a family that you're taking care of, is that you take pride in it and you are happy with it. And this is why you are living the days that you have left on this earth. And I feel like that is something that is a gift that is taken for granted a lot of times, because when you are not in the right mental space, you are no longer embracing it. I took that whole topic, like, like the whole.
No, I did it.
I feel like it was,
No,
like
you covered
the
all
pastor's type thing, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that is my sermon for the day.
Thank you, Father. Yeah, and I think what you said, I like what you said about finding that peace. And when you do have that, it's because you don't have it as often, you cherish that more. If all you do is grind and you finally find a place to give you a little peace, that, people take shit for granted all the time. But like, now that I'm older and I'm working hard and doing shit, when I have that time to decompress, it is peace. And it's like, oh my God, I forgot how much I really appreciated that.
Right.
So that goes a long way too.
The space isn't always just by yourself.
Yeah.
And to your point, the old saying, and there is truth to it, is that absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Sure.
But I tell you what, if all you're seeking is that it's a cycle, they're like, well, there's no absence. I'm not fond anymore. Well, it's like, well, it's not the right space to be in right now. You know what I mean? You do it once, and absence makes your heart grow fonder. Now you found your fondness. Let's go with it. So great.
Cool. I think Nate cut me off. Kristen probably.
Is something wrong? Did you mute his mic a while back?
No, it's not
Oh.
muted at all.
Well, I was okay.
It's great. Ray
Anyway.
says, drink more water, Nate. Ray also says, has Steve Crane stopped talking yet? I'm sorry to bore you. And Ray, to that point, Ray, we'll see you in 2 weeks, and I hope absence makes your heart grow fonder. We're going to be back with the people from Barrel Craft Spirits in 2 weeks. We've got 3 bottles that they sent us to review.
Nice. Ray, you make my.
I'm
my
definitely
heart
looking
fonder.
forward to that cigar blend.
Ray makes my heart go fonder.
Okay. Cheers, guys. Happy Whiskey Wednesday.
You sure it's your heart?
Or fart.
Wow. Cut this off. I'll cut all our mics off. Cheers, guys.